Doing the throw for the end zone. Touchdown. Parker. Ripped off by Xavier Howard. Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown. That's hard work.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and I'm joined by the homie, the god of the mod squad, Rhino Sith. How you doing tonight, Rhino?
Doing very good. Hope everyone had a great Mother's Day weekend. I know for me and my family, it's the first time we spent any significant time with each other. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, fins up.
I gotta lay this out there, man. You know, I open up this room about usually 2 hours live before I go live. So everyone can get in the comments, they can talk. I don't open it up for other people to steal my show ideas and go live a half hour before I do. I'm just putting it out there, okay? It's absolutely, you know what? I know things have been settled, but that kind of slick, sly shit is what's going to start it up again. That's all I'm going to fucking be out here and I'm going to say. All right? So, you know what? Just because you can't have an original thought yourself doesn't mean you got to go over and jack mine.
Amen.
So, you know, and that's real shit right there, man. So, yeah, I got an issue with that. So, I hope everyone else is doing good out there. And like Rhino said, I hope everyone had a really good Mother's Day. All the mothers that watch this show, because I know a few of them do. I hope you guys had happy, healthy, safe, and blessed days, man. That would be, you know, hope it was good for you guys. So yeah, Rhino, some interesting things we're gonna go over.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? We're gonna go over Peter King's article yesterday. We are also gonna go over some fantasy outlook on Tua Tagovailoa. And another thing is a non-Dolphin related thing is, you know, Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero announced today, bro, that the Jacksonville Jaguars are bringing back Tim Tebow into the NFL. And there's a lot of controversy over this today. A lot of people are, you know, out here saying, oh, you know, early 30s, former football player, taking up spots from other people. What are your thoughts on Tim Tebow coming back into the NFL? You know, because like I said, people are saying, oh, you know, all these young kids that are working hard to get there. You know, imagine a 30-something-year-old guy coming back to the NFL after being out of the league for like 12 years and taking your spot. Or is it what I think it is? It's just a matter of Urban Meyer's in Jacksonville. He knows how he wants to use Tim Tebow. He's already said it's going to be basically a Taysom Hill type of role, and people are overreacting because no other team, given the circumstances, would have even have signed him.
Yeah, I'm of two minds. I'm with you. It's taking up a spot that maybe someone else could use to show their wares, but it's the NFL. You're not there to make you know, wonderful stories. You're there to win games and improve your team. And Urban Meyer obviously has all the insight he needs on Tim Tebow. The guy is one of the best, if not the best, college athlete performer to ever be. Right? I mean, he's just there. That's what he did in college. The thing is that the controversy is always around him because I know they try to make him a tight end in Florida, and there's some talk about him being a tight end when he came out in the pros. So this is just a continuation of that whole debate, and some people get upset by that, but I'm not worried about that. Everyone respects Tebow and the talent he brought in college. I think he'll flourish. If he's serious about it, the guy has the heart. He has the work ability. You put in the work, he'll make things happen if he wants it to happen. His age is the only thing that concerns me, but he takes care of himself. And like I said, he has the heart. I'll never doubt anything he ever wants to do because he produces.
Yeah, and one thing the one thing about him too is the guy, whether you're talking about in the NFL or whether you're going all the way up, back to his college days, the guy was not only a winner, brother, he was a leader. And there
Yeah.
weren't many leaders in the league, in college and in the league better than him. And another thing you can do is, he can help Trevor Lawrence along the way. He can mentor him
Oh, what a good
a little
point.
bit.
What
You know
a
what I
good point.
mean? So a lot of people are sleeping on the impact that he would have on a guy like Trevor Lawrence.
Like another quarterback in the huddle.
Yeah, man. And
Wow.
what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I didn't even think about that, and that is such a good idea. And I personally have a lot of respect for Urban Meyer. Okay, I know there's some controversy around him as well, but the guy's a winner most of the time, and there's a reason why he's a head coach. Like I said, he has insight into Tebow, and I think that might be a major reason why he brought him in, or thinking about bringing him into the huddle, help him out, help Lawrence out. That's a very, very good point, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, like, once you go into the red zone, what's this team gonna do? Are they gonna throw against you with Lawrence, or are they gonna put Tim Tebow back there, and get those last couple yards to get into the end zone?
That's a great idea.
Like, it does make the team diverse to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. It seems like a win-win for them. Even to get silly on a little bit, it'll sell tickets. That's not the point. They're the main point of the whole thing, but it just seems like a plus for them all around.
Yeah, and here's another thing too, right? No one is going to be able to teach Trevor Lawrence Urban Meyer's scheme and get him adapted to it better than Tim Tebow.
Yeah, you're hitting it out of the park. Yeah, I didn't even, like I said, didn't think about it. That it just seems such a great concept to try and employ if you can get away with it.
Yeah, and it makes you deadly. Now let's just hope his mechanics are better. He can actually throw a football now. But
we'll see.
People keep replaying that highlight. I think it was when he's like with the Jets or whatever, when he they lined him up as the receiver and they threw the ball to him and he ducked under the ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and Justin makes a good point. Now you got an option if you want to run the Wildcat.
Yeah. I'll say this about Tebow. There is no more braver man in this world, in sports world, than that man. If he wants to do it, he'll try it, and he'll put himself out there. And I respect that. I respect his heart. I've never questioned the guy's heart.
Dude, that guy, he has worked his ass off. You remember when he was working his ass off just to fix his mechanics with all these different coaches and all these different programs, just trying to fix his mechanics as a quarterback? Obviously never worked out, but no one can deny that guy's work ethic, bro.
Mm-mm. Never.
It's actually crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and here's the thing. If Trevor Lawrence is ever struggling, never thought I'd say this, but you can bring in Tim Tebow.
Short yardage.
Just go to an option. Just go to an option offense.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you think about it, like a coach thinks, we have one of the better ones in the NFL, is versatility. And I don't think, really, Tim Tebow is Mr. Versatility. If you go to him and ask him to be a running back for that week and you give him a couple of days, he'll probably get ready for you. He's that kind of player for your team. He's that much of a leader. So, it makes sense. It does make sense. Hopefully he won't duck under too many passes, and hopefully for the Jags, they won't have to worry about that with Lawrence. And I doubt they will. The guy's a talent. He may have a few problems here and there, but I think he'll be a good quarterback as well too. So
yeah, and first of all, I think we can both agree there's 32 teams in the NFL. 31 of them would have had no interest in him. It's just because Urban Meyer's in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
But is this really any different than us giving Jabri Blount a chance? The kid's never played organized football in his whole life. And clearly, because of his father, they said, well, we'll give you a shot, kid, because his father, Mel Blount, Hall of Famer for the Steelers, right? Like, we're giving a kid that's 6'7", whatever, a chance, and and we're giving him a chance over kids that went undrafted and have actually played this at the collegiate level. We're giving him a chance over those type of kids.
Yeah,
It's literally the same thing. The only difference is the age.
Right. I mean, I see what you're saying. He's taking up a spot. He's never played football. That all makes sense, right? I mean, why is he there? Well, it's obvious. It's his father and the connection to that. And he is athletic as a basketball player, but he's not used to getting off the line, being hit, being chipped, reading zones, running the right route, cutting a route off. He doesn't have any experience with that. So it seems like a very raw process. I think Tim Tebow has earned this. If someone's willing to give him this, I think he's earned enough credibility in NFL to do this. You just can't produce football players. And at his core, at his root, Tim Tebow is a football player. Every coach wants a Tim Tebow, period. So why not use him if you can?
Yeah, I agree, man. And yeah, I totally agree with that, dude.
But I hate the Gators. I know you're a Gator, but I hate the Gators. I don't like them.
Yeah, but I'm not one of these Gator marks.
No, I know. But I have to give him his respect. I have to be real about it. The guy's a legend. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are making way too big of a deal about this, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm surprised the Dolphins didn't go out and sign the guy because it's it's a tight end on the open market and we didn't pursue him. Color me shocked.
Yeah, we can't have any tight ends on any other team. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I know some people are saying, Antonio Gates in terms of Blount, but Antonio Gates actually played in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He actually played football in high school. Jabri Blount has never played organized football at all.
Big difference. Even from high school, you learn a lot of stuff that you can apply.
Yeah, and you've actually been on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've actually displayed the ability to have hands. So
there's a physicality to football unless you played it. Even at a high school level, you have to understand it's a mental thing. You either can or you can't.
Yeah. Irving says $2 donation. Skip jumped out of his chair when Tebow got signed to the Jags. Yeah. I mean, Skip jumps out of his chair like over anything. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I just, is anyone really surprised again? Like me and Rhino have said, the only reason he's gotten there is because of Urban Meyer. If it wasn't for Urban Meyer, he wouldn't even have a team right now.
Right. It's true. That's true. So he does owe him in a way. Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only because he knows, like, there's so many, like you said, bro, he's got so many options in that offense with Tim Tebow, man, in terms of he can play quarterback, you know what I mean? He can line up as a tight end. I'm going to be interested to see if Tim Tebow can block worth a damn.
Right. I mean, they'll know. They'll figure it out.
Because here's the thing. What if he doesn't make it out of camp? Then everyone getting in a hissy fit over this is getting in a hissy fit over nothing.
Well, that's it. I mean, what is it, 93 now is the squad or 90? One of the two? Something like that? When you're at your full is like 90-something, right?
Oh, yeah, before you have to start doing cuts.
I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, they have to sign someone, and they're not big contracts, right? I mean, it's kind of like people that have to take up reps so the other guys can rest and get their water until they can come back and start, seeing who they're going to have. I don't know why anyone would get upset by that. I really don't.
Neither do I. Darth Vader donates $1.99. Said happy belated Mother's Day to your wife. Reason appreciate you, homie.
Very nice.
Yeah, made her breakfast. She wanted a planter, so I got her this big ass expensive planter, like
hanging one or
bro. No, like just one out that you can put outside.
Cement one, yeah,
bro. Like, you think your boy's ever gone to I was a landscaper at one point in my early 20s as a summer job when I was in college. But you think I've ever actually gone to a garden store, purchasing this shit, bro?
Hello, I need a nice planter, please.
You know what I mean, bro? I'm like, what the hell is going on right now with my life? So, anyways, yeah, it was a good Mother's Day, man. Made dinner and stuff like that. My wife was simple. She was just making me turkey burgers, so made her some turkey burgers and stuff. It was just simple, man. All right.
You and Clump, man, luckiest man alive.
Yeah,
The two of you.
I was gonna make a joke about Clump, but I'll stop.
Okay.
So let's get into the original reason I was here. I know someone else saw whatever I was going with this, and they decided to go live before me to kind of get ahead of me and jack my show idea. But it is what it is. We're actually going to cover it word by word, sentence by sentence for y'all, and show you at the same time too. So it's basically a Peter King article came out last night around 11 p.m. And if you follow me on Twitter, you saw what my early thoughts of it this morning were. So let's go over this. So this is an article that's going to go over the draft strategy. It's going to talk about Waddle, and it's also going to talk about Tua at the end, which I think is very, very interesting when we get into the Tua part. So this was March 25th, a Thursday night around 10 p.m., exactly 5 weeks before round one of the NFL draft. Miami GM Chris Grier sat in his rental Chrysler outside of the Residence Inn in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Grier would attend the Michigan Pro Day in the morning, but now here he was finishing up one of two deals that would recast the 2021 NFL Draft. Miami's trade-a-palooza actually began March 3rd when San Francisco GM John Lynch called to gauge the Dolphins' interest in trading the third overall pick. "We're open," Grier said. "We'll listen." In less than a month, that listening turned into Miami trading from the 3rd to the 12th in the first round and picking up 2 additional first-round picks and a third rounder. Then, when Coach Brian Flores wanting to ensure getting an offensive weapon as a spur to move back up, with the driver's seat of the rental car as his office, Grier phoned Eagles GM Harry Roseman from Ann Arbor to work out the final details on the deal they'd been discussing. Miami trading the 12th pick plus a first in 2022 to move up 6 spots in this year's first round. Grier called owner Stephen Ross, who has to sign off. He didn't even spell Stephen right. Who has to sign off on deals of this magnitude late on a Thursday night. Steve was very excited, Grier recalled. He likes trades, as does Grier. Since taking over as a general manager with full personnel power in Miami 28 months ago, Grier has made 28 trades. That's a trade a month he's averaging. If that seems like a lot of deals, it is. Trade-happy Baltimore GM Eric DeCosta has made 14 deals in that same 28-month span. Many Miami deals have been done on the clock during drafts, but Grier's 25th and 26 trades left major imprints on 3 teams in this draft, and the impact of the deals will be felt for years. San Francisco went all in to get quarterback of the future Trey Lance at 3. Miami got the receiver returner it craved, Jaylen Waddle, at 6. And Philadelphia got the third top receiver in the draft, Devontae Smith, at 10. And the Dolphins and Eagles got future high draft picks out of the 2 trades. We all talk about how much the game has changed over the years, but as the passing game has revolutionized the game on the field, the trading game has been transformative too. A cadre of young, aggressive general managers who learn from peers in all sports don't treat high picks like immovable objects anymore. In his 28 months as exclusive steward of the Miami roster, Grier has traded away 7 first and second round picks and acquired 12 of them. "I think we're in a different age," said Grier, an unassuming 51-year-old football lifer, sitting at a long table on the morning of the day 3 of the draft with Flores at the other end. "Football has evolved. A lot of general managers are willing to trade now. You've seen that over the past few years. Some of it probably goes back to the Moneyball craze when people started looking at how it's done in other sports. You can never say, no, we'd never do this. We just always talk about it. How can we make our roster better? There will be some news of this of the day later." And he talks about how he said, "But it's the day of the Dolphin at the top of the column." So before we keep going here, bro, what are your thoughts on the fact that he's made 28 trades in 28 months? And when it comes to first and second round picks, he's traded away 7 of those combined, but acquired 12 of them.
I had no idea of the actual numbers. I mean, we all knew he trades a lot. He's a wheeler and dealer. We call him the Wizard. But that's astonishing. Averaging a trade a month. And the fact that he took, I think it said 7 first and second and turned it into 12, which is very impressive. What I like was the Powerball comparison that you're always constantly trying to improve your team in that era. They use statistics, but it seems like Flo and Greer have a good balance with that. Obviously Flo's the coach. He has some experience in the front office, and Greer, I think later on in the article, he has a lot of experience from his family. His father, I believe, was the GM for Detroit. I think it was.
I didn't find out his father was in football until this article, bro.
Well, his father was in hockey, I think. He might have been a personal guy and also now in football. So he has a lineage and he's learned, it's impressive what they're doing. It really is. And Peter King, man, when he digs in and he makes some good points and he makes a nice story.
Yeah. I had no idea his father was involved like that until this article. Really,
okay.
I didn't.
Right.
So it keeps on going here. A modern general manager in sports, not just football, should have 4 things going for him. He must know how to use his leverage. He should have one eye on today and the other on tomorrow. He can't be afraid, and it's optimal to work with a coach who understands when it's smart to play for today and when it's smart to stock up for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Greer is 4 of 4. With Flores as his partner since February 2019, Flores worked in the Patriots scouting department for 4 years before becoming a coach. Greer is paired with a head coach who doesn't just live for today. When I said that in our meeting, Flores said, "You mentioned that philosophically coaches are about today and not about the future. I guess I'm more in tune with the future. When I get into my coaching short-term thought process, Chris pulls me out of that. We listen to one another and have good collaboration on everything, especially the roster. We have a similar vision for what we want the team to look like." Flores and Greer weren't altogether open with me in how they viewed this draft, but we can infer a few things from it. And this is where the leverage part comes in. The Dolphins sat at 3 in March, but didn't necessarily need to be at 3. They weren't going to take a quarterback, and as it turned out, they were keen on a receiver, Waddle, who was not the consensus top receiver available. Jamar Chase was, it says here. Still, if they went down to 12 with San Francisco, they knew to get an offensive threat like Waddle, they'd have to move back up to the 8th pick at the lowest, and they definitely wanted to be higher than that. On March 4th, Lynch offered San Francisco's first-round picks in 2022 and 2023 to move from 12 to 3. A very strong offer, 2 ones to move up 9 spots in the draft. Now, the Dolphins knew San Francisco wanted to get up that high to take a quarterback. That offer marinated for a couple of weeks. We weren't going to officially do the deal with that, Greer said, because we knew the importance of the 3rd pick. And with so many teams coveting quarterbacks in the draft, that's where the leverage came in. Greer could wait for a more aggressive offer. And knowing he had a good offer in hand, Greer could ask around between 4 and 8, would any teams want to go back to 12? The Dolphins saw the top of the draft this way. Picks 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks. Pick 4, a quarterback or tight end, Kyle Pitts. So they knew early they might lose out on Pitts. Mm-hmm. Pick 5, Cincinnati, likely Chase. So they knew they were going to lose out on Chase, or probably tackle Penei Sewell. So let's stop right here. That right there tells you, Rhino, they were okay with missing out on Pitts, Chase, or Sewell, does it not?
Absolutely. That's the math I got. The math adds up for sure. I mean, because if you're high on Sewell, or if you're high on Chase, or if you're high on Pitts, you can't move out of 3. You can't. You have to stay there. So I don't know how else to see it.
Mm-hmm. And goes on here. This is an interesting quote, my friend. "One player we knew we felt very strongly would be there at 6, said Flores. The intimation to me was the player was Waddle. I got the feeling Greer and Flores were all in on Waddle, though they never said that specifically." Mm-hmm. That's a strong little quote there, bro.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Could that be that maybe the report we heard that they had Waddle as the number 2 player on the board behind Trevor Lawrence wasn't BS?
I'm going to ask a question, and I know we don't have an answer to it, but there are reports about players that took the year off. Did they drop Penei because of that? I don't know. Now, we're all assuming they probably didn't, and they really have Waddle rated that highly on talent and projection. But maybe if Penei was there that year and he didn't opt out, maybe he would be higher. I don't know. But yeah, however they got to their board, I believe it. I do believe he was the second on their board.
Yeah, I agree. And shout out to Martin, for the $5 donation. This is Chestnut Checkers. I literally said that today on Twitter when I talked about this. So, anyways, continuing on here. Greer probably wouldn't move back to 12 unless he could make a move back up to get Waddle or one of the offensive impact players. So when the initial 49er offer came in, Flores was clear what he wanted. Right away, said Greer, meaning right after the 49 offer, Brian was like, if we do this, we go down to 12, we need to figure a way to get back up into the top 10. We knew that Alabama receiver Devontae Smith, if he was the other guy who was a very good player, was not going to be there at 12. Notice how they called him the other guy? Yeah. Greer said, we knew the players that we wanted would not be there at 12. We had very good intel. There's that word again. Intel.
Did our homework. Yep.
We've done our work. We were 100% sure we were not going to get a targeted player, especially Jaylen, staying at 12. We felt we had to get to 8 was about the spot where we said, but we wanted to get up higher. We weren't really comfortable at 8. We felt 6 was the spot for us to get Waddle. So that tells you they were targeting Waddle from the get-go, it seems. Eagles at 6 were the perfect target. GM Howie Roseman loved trading, and he had a reason to want to collect draft capital. If Jalen Hurts didn't put a solid grip on the starting quarterback job this fall, Philly might need draft picks to target one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft, or maybe even Deshaun Watson, which is what we've been saying over on this side for quite some time. It was a heavy price, but Roseman wanted a 2022 first-round pick from the Dolphins. Now Greer knew he could move back into the range for Waddle or a strong offensive threat. One afternoon in late March, Lynch was at his daughter's school tennis match and his phone rang. It was Greer telling him they were close to being ready to do the deal if the 49ers added a third-round pick. That was tough for the Niners, who already were denuding the top of their next 2 drafts to get a quarterback. Lynch had to think about it. He knew internally that it would be a tough pill to swallow, but he had a third-round compensatory pick, likely to be the 104th pick, very low in the 3rd round, coming in 2022 from Robert Saleh's hire by the New York Jets. A total bonus, Coach Kyle Shanahan called it. So the Niners, after some thought, agreed to add the 3rd-round pick, the Saleh pick, as the sweetener to push the deal over the top. Lynch wasn't angry about the late ask for a 3rd-rounder. He's done almost exactly the same thing in his first 49er draft in 2017, asking Chicago GM Ryan Pace for an extra 3rd-round pick to get a deal done for Chicago to move up from 3 to 2 in the 1st round. Pace did it and infamously picked Mitchell Trubisky. I love dealing with Chris Greer, Lynch said Saturday. He's not emotional about it, and his word is everything. Chris is a rock. To me, Greer said, it's never about winning a trade. It's about being open, honest, and working towards getting a deal both sides feel good about. There was one other piece of the puzzle. In the first 2 years Greer and Flores worked together, so much of the draft prep and trading was about the future. The draft was more about the future as now. The guys we got in 2019, the guys we got in 2020, the guys we got in 2021 that we get in this draft, that's the team, Flores said. You know what I mean? That's the team moving forward. As we move forward, that's going to be the crux of the big chunk of our team. They'll be the reason why we make noise or don't make noise. So in 2019, the Dolphins might have moved from 3 to 12 and kept all their future ones instead of trading a 1 to move up back to 6. So what have I been saying for months before leading up to the draft? I want you to be aggressive. Go get your guys. Don't settle. Don't let the board settle it for you. And this is showing right here, Rhino, that they said, yeah, we'll take back and get some extra capital, but we still want to go get our guy. Does it not?
Absolutely. It does. Well, with Eichenberg, that's definitely a move. That's an aggressive move because they
overpaid.
Yeah, they overpaid, and sometimes when you're aggressive, that's the price of being aggressive. Yep. You have to overpay. But we also hear reports that they wanted to move up to get Najee and Etienne. That's aggressive. Sometimes even though you have to overpay, you don't want to overpay too much. But the mindset seemed to be within the organization that we all wanted as fans, or most of us wanted from fans. And the last part there, where he says that we're either going to make noise or not noise with our roster we have now, basically, he's acknowledging the pressure of making the playoffs this year. So he can't be upset if anyone is saying that to him in pressers or anything. Do you feel the pressure about the playoffs? Because he basically acknowledged it there. And it's good to see. It's good to be publicly honest with everyone and admit what everyone else knows. We have to make the playoffs.
Yeah. And we'll get into those expectations in a second, because it's a real question we got to ask people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All right. So continuing on here. If they picked right, Miami could have 6 starters on offense in the last 2 drafts. Waddle, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, and 4 of the 5 starters up front. 2020 picks Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, Saul McKinley, and the highly regarded 2021 second-rounder Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame. And he says he'll probably get a shot at left guard here. I don't think Peter King knows what he's talking about with that.
Yeah,
because it's already been confirmed by Miami media that Hunt's moving inside. On defense, they'll need more help from free agents in the last 2 crops. Byron Jones must play better at corner, he says. I don't know what he's talking about there. Pass rusher Emmanuel Ogbah will have a bookend helper now with the 18th pick in the draft, Jalen Phillips. And just signed expat Jason McCourty comes off a very good 2020 season to buttress the corner. On Friday, I asked one of the NFL's biggest wheeler and dealers of recent times, Jimmy Johnson, what he thought of the team Greer has produced. I like his trades. I like his picks, Johnson said. I like his approach. I used to say, do you want to play it safe and be good, or do you want to take chances and try to be great? But you got to win. Time will tell. Flores won't argue. He said trades are great, picks are great, but we don't want to be known as a great trading team. We are here to win.
Yep.
The biggest variable for Miami, of course, now is Tua Tagovailoa, the 5th pick of the 2020 draft, coming off a so-so rookie year in which he was benched twice in the shaky second halves. Miami picked him 1 slot ahead of Justin Herbert last April. Herbert finished his first season as a Charger with the offensive rookie of the year. Tagovailoa finished his first season with questions surrounding his ability to be Miami's long-term starter. That's probably not fair. Most often, quarterbacks don't play as great as rookies. Herbert and 2020 top pick Joe Burrow playing like vets from the start spoiled it for. I don't know what he's talking about, because him and Burrow had exactly the same statistical line, but okay. Yeah. But there's much riding on Tagovailoa for Greer. Miami built a war chest of picks to be able to draft a quarterback, and if Tagovailoa is not the guy, it'll set the rebuild back significantly and force Miami to use more draft capital on a quarterback, likely in 2023. Flores said, I never like to put it on one player. I think we've got a lot of young players, and we're looking for all those players as well as everyone on our team to improve in a variety of ways. If they're putting all the work in, I expect them to improve, get better, and perform better. Tua is obviously at the top of that list. He's been working. All signs point to, or should I say based on my experience, he's doing everything necessary to make some improvements. That's really all we can ask for. My thing is, if you put the work in, the results will take care of themselves. Now, here comes one of the most interesting quotes, and we're going to talk about this. Last year's situation is, we've talked about it numerous times. If he had started the season, Rhino, we wouldn't have pulled him. We put him in. We're in a playoff chase. At that point, second half in Game 15 at Las Vegas, when Fitzpatrick entered in relief, it's, hey, we've got to do whatever we've got to do to try and win. But no, my confidence wasn't shaken in him.
He's very specific. Which is very rare for Flores.
Wow.
Yep. When he speaks, you got to listen, because he's speaking right there.
I mean, isn't that very telling, bro? All these people who are out here trying to use the fact that Tua got benched against him, Flores just basically dead it all, y'all, with one quote.
Mm-hmm. This is what, his second interview like this? The other one was with Cameron Wolfe.
Yeah.
This is rare, and it seems like when he does these, he seems to be very honest. I mean, time will tell, obviously, but he seems genuine with this, and I think it's a point of contention with him, because I think even from us within the fan base, sitting in your channel, watching the games live, when Tua was benched twice, I think we're all kind of, everything got quiet. There were no comments in the chat. We're all kind of digesting it. It was an odd situation, but now that he explains it, it makes complete sense.
And here's the thing: are people going to ignore this?
Yeah. If it doesn't fit their narrative, they're going to ignore it. It never happened. He never said it. And who the hell is he? He's just the head coach. That's kind of how they'll spin it, or he was just saying that because he felt defensive. I don't know. But
I'm
yes,
just saying.
they will ignore
I'm just saying. He just literally deaded everyone who tries to use them against him. He literally told you if Tua Tagovailoa would have been the starter from day one, he would have never been pulled.
Well, they have to ignore it. He's talking to the media. He's throwing them under his bus right there with that comment. That's directed at a couple, people. That's committed, directed at the fans to calm everyone down, and it's directed at the media to say you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, you don't know the situation.
Yeah. So
I just think that's such a huge quote, Rhino.
Gigantic, yeah.
That's the one that I clipped out of this, right? When I shared it to you guys in the group chat around like 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just that says everything you need to hear about the whole pulling.
Yes. And it's not the same subject, but when he had the interview with Cameron Wolf, to me, that deadened the whole thing about the trade. It just squished it to me because there's no way that guy's going to come out. That coach knows what he's doing, bro. He doesn't do those things unless he wants to. He knows what it means. And if people want to ignore it, that's their problem. Let them deal with it. I think that's what he feels.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's crazy, man. I think it's crazy how people continue to doubt this kid and they continue to try and take their shots at this kid when Flores has done nothing but throw his support behind him this offseason. So
it'll be all the sweeter.
So 2 other points here. Continuing education. Greer and Flores have brain picked with GMs across leagues. Greer learned from his dad, former Patriots personnel man Bobby Greer, and one of his bosses in Miami, Bill Parcells, but also from baseball GMs Theo Epstein from the Toronto Blue Jays, and then he went to the Boston Red Sox, and Jed Hoyer and several NHL GMs. Flores has gotten to know Miami Heat execs and learned from Oklahoma City GM Sam Presti and an assistant GM with the Nets, Andy Birdsong. Presti is an accumulator. Oklahoma City has 9 first-round picks in the next 3 NBA drafts. Birdsong and the Nets famously traded a ton of future draft capital to win now with James Harden. There's a balance there, a piece we're trying to get to somewhere in the middle. A place we're trying to get to somewhere in the middle, Flores said. That place this year is trying to build for today. But it's a balancing act, knowing when to go for it and when to build. Birdsong said, when I talk to Brian, we talk about not missing a moment. There are different moments, a draft, free agency, trades. Your job is to collect actionable information so you'll be able to stand behind any decision you make so your actions can match your beliefs. Brian's background has prepared him for this moment. That background gives him the ability to be exactly what a coach needs to be today. He respects the job of the general manager because he's been in scouting. And then the Tunsil trade. Dolphins and EVP of football operations Mike Tannenbaum parted ways after the 2018 season, though Greer was appointed GM in 2016. Tannenbaum was heavily involved with football decisions from 2016 to 2018. That's why I drew the line of the demarcation January 2019 for Greer having full control of the personnel side. Greer's first big deal in 2019 came on September 1st when he traded tackle Laramie Tunsil. Team observers say Miami wasn't thrilled about throwing a big second contract at Tunsil, which would have been coming a year later, and wideout Kenny Stills to Houston for a package that included first-round picks in 2020, 2021, and a second-round pick in 2021. Houston was desperate for a left tackle, so the leverage was on Miami's side. So far, the trade looks like this, with secondary trades factored in. Tunsil and Stills for first-round corner Noah Benogany, fourth-round guard Solomon Kinley, both in 2020, first-round receiver Jaylen Waddle, and Javon Holland in the second round in 2021, a third-round pick from San Francisco in 2022, and a first-round pick from San Francisco in 2023. Those future picks could be vital if Tagovailoa isn't the answer at quarterback. It's a gift that keeps on giving, but for it to be a treasure trove, at least 3 of those players need to be stalwarts. It's too early to pass judgment now, of course, but the only benefit I see of the Holland pick is that it allowed Miami, after addressing a safety need, to move up to 42 to pick Eichenberg. he might be the best post-first round offensive lineman in the draft this year. The Tunsil deal, the Tagovailoa pick last year, and this year's third pick have set the table for Miami to challenge Buffalo and perhaps New England in the AFC East. The crops have been planted. Now we wait for the harvest.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You build a team off of 3 drafts, all high picks. You put in the work. You trust your talent evaluation. You trust your coach to develop them. You trust your GM to make more moves on the down low and high on the roster to get your team better. We're doing it the right way, and I am so proud of this franchise not falling for the BS Watson stuff this offseason, this Rodgers stuff that's going on. They have a plan. The only way I see them ever moving off of Tua is to get like a giant, huge trade like they did with Tunsil. And it's just nice to see them giving everything that he's going to need. And I don't call it no excuses for Tua. I call it giving him the best ability to be Tua. And he's going to be incredible. I don't know how he's not going to be incredible. Our offensive line, they improved it so much. The blocking is going to be better. The pass pro is going to be better. We're actually going to have some freaking offensive coordinators are going to call some plays to make our quarterback and our offense be dynamic, so where they're not sticking the line with 8 or 9 people to stop us from doing what we need to do.
And they're going to game plan to his strengths, right?
Yeah, and then, we're going to lean on our defense because we have one of the best defenses in the league. It's wonderful to see. It's finally nice to see people that are living beyond making their next paycheck to the next year to keep the job for a year. They don't care about any of that. They want to win. They're thinking about the ring, man. They want the whole enchilada. They don't want a bite. They want the whole damn table. And I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's the self-awareness they have of when knowing, okay, I'll overpay here, or knowing, you know what I mean? Like, this is when I should make the move. I mean, something that I was also telling there was, the strategy of making sure your stuff is actionable.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because 5 years ago, same situation. Watson comes up to be traded. Tannenbaum makes that deal within 30 seconds. Yeah. And throws everything that they have accumulated from a Tunsil trade, hypothetical Tunsil trade from 5 years ago. And we would have done wonderful that 1 year. And I'm telling you, just the way things are, we wouldn't have been able to get receivers for him, running back, whatever you may be, or a left tackle that he may need. And we would have been right back where we were 6-7 years ago. So I'm just so glad these guys have learned, specifically from one jerk, Tannenbaum. That guy made so many mistakes. It's disgusting. I'm glad they were paying attention and they learned from it. And this past offseason proved it to me. They have learned. They've moved on. I don't know if it's Ross. I don't know if it's Greer. I don't know who it is, but they learn, bro. They learn.
Yeah, and like a big thing in life is learning from the mistakes of other people around you and not making them yourself and allowing history to repeat themselves. And you see so many people come from coaching trees or GM trees, and they make the same mistakes
over and over and over. Like they don't care. It's confusing. It's happy. I'm very happy with this.
So yeah, I'm ecstatic, man. It's nice to have a guy out here who he's making good picks and he's making good trades and he's doing good business, bro.
Yeah. It has to make sense. It has to make sense.
A lot of people crapped on them for the Kyle Van Noy and the Eric Flowers stuff. But you know what? I would rather them get out of being under players' thumb after 1 year and realizing this isn't the guy than trying to make it work and being stubborn and letting us suffer because of it.
Right. Because I know better and I made a commitment for this guy and we have to stick it out. We got to do the right thing for his progression. Maybe he'll be a better player. I don't want to hear that. You overpaid. We all knew you overpaid from the beginning. He didn't live up to it for whatever reason. And thank you for moving on. Finally.
I know. Like, not a lot of coaches and GMs, have the self-awareness or even the balls to move off like they did, bro. You have to respect it, no?
Yeah, 100%. There aren't many people that can do that. You see the good ones, the great ones do it. I'll say that. They do roll off their mistakes really quick, and they're just like a cornerback, man. What bad mistake? I don't know what you're talking about. That never happened.
Martin donates $5 and he says history rewards the researcher.
Yeah.
I like that. I've never heard that before, Martin. I like that.
Yep.
Guys, we're going to be opening it up in a little bit here. I just got two things I want to go over. We're going to go over Tua Tagovailoa. There's an interesting article in Sports Illustrated about Tua Tagovailoa's fantasy stock for all of you that play fantasy football. And Rhino's joining the Dynasty League this year. So me, Sorty, Houts, and all these guys, we got a Dynasty League going. Rhino's going to be part of it. So is Damien. And then I'm going to pose a question to all of you. Me and Rhino will talk about it, and then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to pose a question to all of you. We'll get to that in 1 second. First of all, there's 310 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Florida-born, Kentucky-grown. The reason why EM hasn't really been on these platforms heavy is a variety of reasons between work, the draft. He's just,
busy season,
and it's just, oh, there he is. There's EM.
Yeah.
So what up to EM? I just saw him pop up.
Yeah, buddy.
So he's just doing his thing, man. Like, the guy's working his ass off. He's trying to get his money right. So, money's already right. He's trying to get it even more right.
You got to get it while you can get it.
Exactly, right? So, first thing what I want to do is I want to shout out each and every one of you that have donated so far. You can donate to the channel through the super chat. You can also use the paypal.me/Phinside. I want to go ahead. I want to thank each and every one of the Patreons. You can donate through patreon.com/Phinside. Rhino Sit, Fake Spike 94, KL Day, Ramon Casillas, Seth, Ricketic, Slim Pickens, Marino's Goat, your boy Trev, Josh, Jazz 803, Martin, Vegas, Zovegas 75. Who else we got here? Georgie Boy 23, Chalk Van Straw, The Enigmatic Man, Todd Labruto, J Love T, Cody, Andre Villarreal, Ben Glassford, My T Dolphin, Jeff Jackson, Jawar Thompson, The Show, Drew Boo, The Arkham Elf, Cody Patron, Tommy Flores, Ron Levy, Marino O, Anthony J. Marine, Brett Potvin, Philip Leduc, Dennis Klassen, Michael Rodriguez, Florida-born, Kentucky-grown. Appreciate each and every one of the patrons. And I saw someone saying they were a first-time visitor and they wanted me to mod them. To become a mod, you have to be a Patreon. All right? So that's the whole deal with that. And then, of course, if you look below me, you will see a button that says join. If you want to join, there are 4 different levels now. There's the Pro Bowl, the All-Pro, the Hall of Fame. The Pro Bowl, the Hall of Fame, the Ring of Honor. Sorry, let me start this over. Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Ring of Honor, and Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is the highest now. And I want to go ahead. I want to thank each and every one of the members because there's 74 of you guys. Damian D, your boy Trev, MF Finn fans, MF Fins 1, Ricketic, Greg A, Irving, Seth, Drew Boo, Rhino Sith, Twizzle, Law 100442, Timothy Whiteman, Yawa Bulla, Bruce 1, Fox and Around, Dr. Draft, Timothy Sapinenza, Ray 2K, Nico, Mighty Dolphin, Dolphin Sweden, Fake Spike 94, Jazza 803, Luke Sparkman, D Ray 91, Tilly, Flips, Marcus 84, Ty Rhodes, Florida-born, Kentucky-grown, SC42, Corn 72, RNG Media, Tony Asawa, Cody Patron, The Show, Jonesy Fins Nation, Kevin Williams, Rhonda, Philip Leduc, Zachary Harris, Dennis Klassen, Powerhouse, Daniel Gallegos, Thunder Cleus, Jeremy Klump, who's defending Tebow as we speak now on Twitter right now, probably. Just Know, Birdman, William Bileski, Cody Graham, 100 Ante, Ryan Bathgate, Ramon Casillas, Marino's Goat, Michael Simmons, Ron Levy, Chad, Tony Marine, Canadian Finn Gone Wild, BK2 Day, Barry Bailey, DC, Soya Po, the homie, Tyler, Cali Girl, Richmond Webb, the legend, Cap for Life, Terry Nicholas, KL Day, Chef Jew, Go to Valoa, Derek Huggins, Fred Rivera, and Bleezy38. Appreciate each and every one of you, man. A little quick story before we keep going here. My Waddle, if you guys have seen what I'm doing, I dropped the Waddle on shout out to Justo. I believe he just upgraded his membership to the Hall of Fame. If you saw what I did with that Waddle, I clipped it up. I'm going to be doing now when I do player evaluations, big boards, whatever. I'm going to clip those segments out and I'm going to re-upload it just for those people that don't have 2 or 3 hours to sit through a stream so they can just get the information right away. Shout out to all of you that donate. You do not know how much it helps because, boys and girls, your boy got demonetized on the Jaylen Waddle video because Exo Digital Sports, they claimed the All-22 for West Carolina and Texas A&M. So, I mean, between the little clip and the full video, that's over 7,000 views that got demonetized from me. So, all your support, it helps, man. It sucks, but I do it for you guys to further your education. So, you know what I mean? You got to take the bad with the good sometimes, you know? And when demonetization happens, that's taken from ads. It's not taken from your donations. They don't touch your donations. That's what Google does. They take 30% of your donations. That's why I always put the PayPal up there too. Josh Williams, $4.99. While Tua leading Miami to Super Bowls, the other quarterbacks will be fighting over regular season MVPs with little to no postseason success. Honestly, bro, you want me to be honest with you, dude? I don't think Justin Herbert's ever going to win an MVP. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have an interesting topic coming up on Wednesday night. And it's going to be regarding Justin Herbert. And we'll do that. And I'm going to want all your guys' opinion for that too. But yeah, all right. So now that we've done the shutouts, also, guys, patchvibes.com, use code Phinside to save 20% off of your order. That's store-wide. Let's keep it rolling here. 2 more subjects, and then we're going to open it up to all of you guys, all right? Shout out, we got 305 in the room. That's the area code for Miami. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so this SI article, guys, it was interesting because I want to show you guys the title of it. 2021 Miami Dolphins Fantasy Team Outlook. Tua Tagovailoa leaps into the quarterback one conversation. I think that's interesting. So,
very.
Based on their final ranking in yards gained on offense, 22nd, and yards allowed on defense, 20th, the Dolphins overachieved in their record of 10-6. Miami graded much better in points allowed, 338, which is 6th overall, while being slightly better in points scored, 404, which is 15th overall. They finished with a league average quarterback play, 3,937 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, and 13 interceptions between Fitz and Tua, while lacking an impact running game, wide receiver, tight end. Even with success and wins, Miami failed to make the postseason for the 4th straight season and the 17th time over the last 19 years. So it goes on to the coaching staff. Brian Flores came through New England's system with a variety of jobs over 15 years. Over his last 8 seasons with the Patriots, he worked on the defensive side of the ball as a defensive assistant, safeties coach, and linebackers coach. Flores has been part of 4 Super Bowl winning teams and 7 AFC championships. That's crazy, bro. His record sits at 15-17 after 2 seasons as the Miami Dolphins head coach. The Dolphins will go with a tandem as the offensive coordinator position. Miami promoted Eric Studesville to help run the offense after being the running back coach over the previous 3 seasons. He's been coaching the NFL since 1997, with some of his experience coming from handling running backs. Studesville will have the same role as well in 2021. George Godsey returns to handle the tight end position, plus be a part of the offensive game planning. He ran the Texans offense in 2015, 2016, while also coming through the Patriots coaching tree. Godsey has 10 seasons of experience coaching the NFL. That's what I love, man. You know, if you go back to that 2015 season, Rhino, they had like the 15th best I always talk about this, the 15th best passing attack, and they had guys like Tom Savage. Yeah. You know what I mean? They had Hoyer. You know what I mean? They just had they had 4 different quarterbacks, and they're all jabronis. I think the other one is, you remember Brandon Weeden?
Yes.
He was one
first round.
Yeah, from Cleveland, right?
Yep.
And then it says Josh Boyer returns for his 2nd year as defensive coordinator after working as a quarterbacks coach for Miami in 2019 while handling the defensive pass game responsibilities. He worked with Flores in New England for 13 seasons. The Dolphins defense gave up 156 fewer points in 2020, 338, than they did in 2019, which was 494. In free agency, the Dolphins' top signing in the offseason was Will Fuller. He upgrades the deep pass game while offering the speed to turn a short pass into a touchdown. His presence sets up a much better structure to Miami's receiving core. They brought in Jacoby Brissett to take over the backup job after losing Ryan Fitzpatrick to free agency. Brissett has 4 years of experience in the NFL while offering a ball control skill set. Miami added Matt Skura and DJ Fluker to the offensive line. Both players have starting experience, but they were paid to be backups. That's interesting.
Very.
Saying that about Skura.
Mhm.
Ted Karras jumped to New England after starting for Miami over the past 1 season. I don't know why it says 2 seasons. When at his best, Karras was only a league average player. I agree. On the defensive side, the Miami Dolphins added Justin Coleman and Adam Butler. Coleman saw his game fade over the past 2 seasons after showing flashes in coverage out of the slot for the Seahawks early in his career. Butler projects as a rotational player with minimal value against the run. The Miami Dolphins added Malcolm Brown for running back depth. In mid-March, Miami swapped draft picks to acquire Benardrick McKinney for Shaq Lawson. McKinney missed 12 games last season after working as a volume tackler. Draft. Miami had 4 selections over the first 42 picks in the draft. In the first round, they invested in Jaylen Waddle and Phillips. Waddle's play in college gives him an explosive, deep threat feel, but his quickness, vision, and route running project to be more of a complete player. Waddle is excellent in the open field with the ball in his hands while playing bigger than his size, which is 5'10", 180. His experience against press coverage is limited, and many of his catches came in space. Miami added him with 6th overall pick with the hopes of finding an impact player. Waddle is a former teammate of Tua. Jalen Phillips. Phillips had fought an uphill battle over the first 2 seasons in college due to multiple injuries and a pair of concussions. He decided to retire from football in 2018. At the time, on the sidelines, he was allowed to help to heal his mind and body, and it led to a transfer to Miami. He projects as a disruptor on all downs while offering plenty of upside attacking the quarterback. Offenses will need to account for him being in their pass blocking schemes. Phillips plays with vision, anticipation against the run with a high motor. To reach a high level, he needs to improve his technique off the ball, plus add more strength to his lower body. He should provide early pass rush. He should provide early pass rush stats since he has above average moves to beat linemen off the snap. In the second round, Miami selected Javon Holland and Liam Eichenberg, and they also selected Hunter Long. Now, the little write-ups. Holland will transition to safety in the NFL after working as a cornerback in college, which isn't correct, but okay. He brings an attacking style that works well in run support and attacking the line of scrimmage. Holland is a playmaker with the vision to defend over the short field. His speed is lacking, which makes him a liability if he has to cover elite speed receivers in the deep passing game. I wouldn't go that far. Liam Eichenberg showed a very good ability to mirror fast guys.
Right.
And he has good makeup speed, so I wouldn't agree with that statement. Eichenberg has questions about his ability to handle speed rushers on the outside. When fighting in the trenches, his game projects well. He needs to improve finishing power with his hands and develop his technique to defend a wider portion of the field in multiple directions. Eichenberg came through college as a left tackle, but his early opportunity may come at the other side of the line, right tackle. Hunter Long. Long has concerns about his release and challenges with press coverage, plus negative grades in his blocking skills. I don't know what they're talking about with that. He runs well in space with the ability to attack soft zones and challenge a defense downfield. Long has a chain mover feel with the strength in his hands. I expect him to fit well with the spread offense while being on the sidelines on most running plays. That's not true. The Dolphins' final 2 players, Coleman and Jared Dokes, came in the 7th round. Coleman looks the part in pass protection, but he can have issues when challenged by power rushers. His game is more advanced in pass protection, despite having vision and mobility to win in run blocking when in space. Some of his flaws will be corrected with coaching, and the final piece comes from a deeper drive to win the small battles on the field, which requires a punch to the defender's game at times. Jared Dokes. Dokes is a big back with the low-level opportunity in college. He comes with build-up speed, which doesn't help his game in tight quarters when asked to be a north-south runner. Dokes doesn't create in space while owning questionable vision. He's more of a finisher feel in games where his style can wear down defenses in the fourth quarter. Now, it goes on to the offensive line here, and it says Miami moved up to 16th in rushing attempts, 428, leading to the 22nd ranking in rushing yards, 1,688, with 15 rushing touchdowns. Their rushers only had 7 runs over 20 yards and none over 40. We had none over 31, right? Their offensive line allowed 34 sacks, which was 15th in the NFL. We allowed 58 in 2019. The Dolphins slipped to 21st in passing yards, 3,937 with 24 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Now, it goes on to talk about Austin Jackson and the offensive line as it is right now. It talks about how, right here, Jackson came to the NFL with a first-round pedigree in 2020. His movements project well while needing to improve his hands and footwork technique. Jackson has plenty of size, 6'5", 322 with an athletic feel. He plays with power and quickness. In his rookie season, Jackson made 13 starts while failing to live up to expectations. His run blocking had plenty of weakness while allowing too many sacks and pressures on the quarterback. Solomon Kinley. After getting drafted in the 4th round in his rookie season, Kinley won a starting job in week 1, leading to 13 games between left and right guard. His season ended in week 15 with a right knee injury that didn't require surgery. His game is all about the fight over the small area of the field. He can't overcome his lack of quickness if tested outside his body. Kinley needs to improve his drop and drive to gain better leverage at the point of contact. Last year, he gained experience while failing to be an asset in the area. That's wrong. You know what I mean? What are they talking about? Over 4 seasons with the Ravens, Skura worked primarily at center, but he saw time at right guard and left tackle. 2020's play in pass protection was favorable, except for a pair of games midseason against the Eagles and Steelers where he botched snaps. Skura has never been a top player while coming to the league as an undrafted free agent in 2016. Robert Hunt. Just like Austin Jackson, Hunt should replace a weak link in the starting lineup. He started 11 of his final 12 games for Miami while offering an edge in run blocking. Hunt improved as the season moved on in pass protection. The Dolphins should move him to guard this season after drafting Liam Eichenberg. It says Eichenberg will find his way into the Dolphins starting offensive line at some position this year. His game looks more advanced as a run blocker, but a downgrade to right tackle may be a win for success in pass protection. And then their overall view of our offensive line. Miami has 4 players that have a chance to be better than league average on the offensive line. That's not good. They might not all achieve winning success this year, but I expect growth from last year. The center position has weakness, which will be addressed in the next draft or free agency. Okay. Now, this is where we get into Tua Tagovailoa and his stock in fantasy. It says the Dolphins are on the move offensively. Their offensive line should be much improved while owning a franchise quarterback and an exciting new player at wide receiver. Ideally, Miami would like to control the clock with a ball control offense while playing well on defense. Last year, they ran the ball 43.4% of the time with league average value in the passing game. Once Tagovailoa shows the ability to be an elite player, the Dolphins will open up the playbook. Tagovailoa. It took Tagovailoa 6 games before earning his first start. He didn't throw an interception over the first 6 matchups, leading to 898 yards with 11 touchdowns. Tagovailoa went 6-3 with 201 passing yards per game, with 14 combined touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 9 starts. His completed rate, 64.1, ranked very well, but he gained only 6.3 yards per pass attempt with no completions over 40 yards. Thanks, Jakeem Grant.
Thank you.
Tagovailoa passed for over 300 yards in 2 contests while delivering no games with over 2 passing touchdowns. In 2019, Tagovailoa was on a higher path after 9 games than Joe Burrow at Alabama, but his season ended in mid-November with a significant hip injury and a broken nose. In week 8 of the season, he passed for 418 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 INTA, but Burrow won the game and only threw 393 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tagovailoa had an exceptional touchdown-interception ratio, 87 touchdowns to 11 interceptions in college, which strengthened his completion rate 70% over his last 24 games. Fantasy outlook. In the early draft seasons, Tagovailoa has a back-end QB2 ADP. He has an intriguing group of wide receiver of Parker, Fuller, and Waddle, plus a top 10 tight end. Miami has a talent to pass for over 250 yards per game. Tagovailoa will chip in with value in the run game. I expect 4,500 combined yards over a 17-game season with a run at 30-plus touchdowns. I view him as a value with a chance to deliver a top 12 quarterback season.
Yep.
So we've gone over all that. What are your thoughts on now? You got a positive spin coming from Sports Illustrated where they view him as possibly having a top 12 quarterback season.
I think that's fair. I think he's healthy. I think they see that. I think that he's no longer recovering from a hip injury. He's getting into football shape. He's becoming bigger, stronger, faster. They've given him a multitude of weapons to work with. He's going to have, shockingly, an offseason to actually work with these guys, which is not to be underplayed, right? And he has a track record playing at the highest level in college football and having great success, historical success. So there's no reason why he shouldn't have some kind of success that is similar to that in college. So I think they're dead on. Dead on.
You know what? I got to say, bro, if he has a top 12 quarterback season, that is a huge, huge leap.
Yeah.
And a reason why I want to see it is because I want to stop hearing the nonsense.
That'd be a good reason to them to shut up, but I don't know if they will, bro. I don't know if they'll ever shut up.
Because he didn't even just say, I think he could be a top 12 quarterback in fantasy. He said, I think he can have a top 12 season overall, basically.
Right, in football.
4,500 combined yards. Tua ain't rushing for 500 yards here, bro.
41 he's talking about then, roughly. 44,000, 4,100. I mean, yeah.
And 30-plus touchdowns combined?
I see that. I see if you lean on your defense and you lean on your rushing attack, at some point, he's also going to be able to take advantage of that. He's going to be becoming a very efficient quarterback. I mean, if he's going to get 30, close to 40 touchdowns, I can't imagine he's going to have more than 10 to 12 interceptions. That's an efficient quarterback. That's what I want. That's just going to stack wins upon wins upon wins because our defense is going to be a nightmare for this entire league. It just lines up to me to be such a good season if it goes as planned. If we actually have offensive coordinators that are going to do their job this year, I'm with it.
All right, and this kind of segues into it. What are your expectations for the Miami Dolphins in 2021? Do you expect a playoff berth, divisional round, conference championship appearance, or a Super Bowl appearance?
Well, the way I feel is the expectations, and I think the realistic expectations is to make the playoffs. I'm not putting a record because it's hard to before the actual schedule comes out, right? Maybe we'll have a better feeling about I'll have a better feeling about that. I just know if they don't make the playoffs, it's going to be a disappointment for everyone, and there's no way to spin it. And unless we're talking about something we don't want to talk about, right? The I word. But for us to win, where we sit now, the way the team looks to be, for us to win a game in the playoffs seems to be too far for me right now. If we get a rushing attack where we actually can lean on the rushing attack the way I think some of us envision it, yes, then we can win a playoff game. But the rushing attack has to be reliable. It has to be, we're up by 4, we're up by 7. We have to be able to run the ball and get a couple first downs at minimum. We're not there yet. We're not even close to that, right? When they know that we have to run. So if they can be that kind of team, I'm with it for winning a playoff game. Outside of that, no. I don't know.
Are you putting a lot of expectations on Tua himself?
They're there. They're there whether I put it there or you put it there or we don't put it there. They are there. He is a historical quarterback coming out of college. Him, that combined with Herbert is why he's in the situation he is, being knocked every other day by the media, okay? It's not his fault, but it is his fault. He didn't line up and go, let me have a hip injury, right? If he didn't have a hip injury, it's a different story. We know that, but they're not going to give him that pass. So the second year, the excuses are gone. He has everything that he needs. He has a coach that supports him. He has an offensive line. He has receivers. He has a tight end. The only question is the running back, but I think by committee we can get some things done, and he should be able to take advantage of that.
So Jazz had donated $5. He said Super Bowl and Flow we trust.
Oh, yeah. There. By the way, EM donated $20, and I don't know if you can see that. And Julian Gonzalez is all pro level now.
EM donated?
Yeah, $20.
How long ago was this?
10 minutes. Just when you started reading it, just came in.
Shout out to EM Dolphin fan for the $20 donation, bro. I appreciate you, man. You're the last person that needs to donate, dog. You've helped enough with this channel, my guy. I appreciate that, dude. Julian Gonzalez just became a member. Appreciate you for joining, my dude. Appreciate it. So yeah, Jazz 803, he donates. He donated that $5 to the Super Bowl. Will Slater 12-5 and at least divisional round. $5 donation.
Nice.
Am I not the only one who thinks both those expectations are a little bit high? Because here's my expectations.
Yep.
Just get in the playoffs.
Yep.
And whatever may happen, may happen. And the reason why I say that is because we haven't seen this team, and this is a young team right now.
Yeah.
And even the veterans on this team right now, you go through the list of veterans, how many of them besides McKinney have a ton of playoff experience? Byron Jones has been to the playoffs. Who else?
Was the kicker from the Panthers? No, he didn't have. He doesn't have any. I can't think of anyone beyond that. Fuller, no. He has maybe 2 years, maybe or a year. He has 1 year experience.
Fluker might have had some playoff experience with Seattle, I think.
And what's his name? The center,
Skura. Yep.
So there's not a deep pool there.
4 players on a 53, if you want to push it, 55-man roster this year, have playoff experience.
Right.
That's my thing here, bro. Not a lot of these guys have been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just get there. You know what I mean? Like, Eric Rowe has been there. Sorry, my bad. Ogba's been there.
Mm-hmm.
So
the most important one, though, reason? Flow. That's the most important, the head coach, right?
Yo, EM says Will Slater, he's sorry. He didn't mean to hide you, bro. He did that by accident. EM's just letting me know to let you know. Again, EM, I appreciate the $20 donation, dude. We got to talk to me and you, EM, about something. Totally off subject, but yeah, we'll talk, EM. So so we've added those guys to the list. What we're at 7 or 8 guys.
Mm-hmm. There's
another 48 that have never been there before. 47. Right. That's what I'm just sitting here and saying. Like, it's a totally different ball game once you get to the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's not the regular season anymore, right? Things start getting your weaknesses start getting exposed because teams game plan to take away your strengths.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, especially on this offensive line, DVP, our wide receiver core. Will Fuller's been to the playoffs. Okay, we missed that one. Will Fuller's been to the playoffs. Even our receiving core, but beyond Will Fuller, what do we got that's got playoff experience?
DVP. I'm not sure about Wilson. Yeah, Kansas City. He had to.
Were they going to the playoffs when he was there in Kansas City?
That's 2014, 2015. Alex Smith was at least in the hunt, but yeah, I'm not sure.
And then our running back room, Malcolm Brown as like a backup.
Yeah, Rams.
Like, how many of these guys were legitimate playmakers or impact players when they went to the playoffs?
Right. Leaders of a team.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
You're going to be relying on a lot of guys on their first time around.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole offensive line, bro.
Sure.
So my whole, this is where my expectations are right now. I'll give you all a record prediction when we go live on Wednesday night, because when we go live on Wednesday night, we'll be going live just before the schedule releases, so we'll be live when the schedule does release. My expectations are this right now as they stand because I haven't seen the schedule yet. Get to the playoffs, and for Tua, I want 3,500 plus yards. I want 28 to 32 touchdowns, and I want 8 to 12 interceptions.
Sounds fair to me.
If he can hit those marks, I'll be happy. Because here's one thing. Let me ask you this. And guys, we're about to open it up because I want to hear your guys' expectations. If God forbid we don't make the playoffs, but you see that leap from Tua, are you happy?
If I had to choose between making the playoffs or knowing that Tua is our franchise quarterback, I will take knowing my quarterback is our franchise quarterback. I think in the long run, that's more important. But both, I'll take both. I'll be happy with both.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that's the real question, right? Like, are you? Well, GSP Hunter, Tua is going to throw interceptions.
Yeah.
I want him to throw as minimal as possible. Throwing 8 to 12 interceptions over a 17 game span is pretty good for a second-year quarterback.
That's 1-to-3 ratio.
Buddy, if I could take no interceptions, cool, but I'm not going to be a dumbass who comes up here and says no interceptions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just setting myself and him up for failure against those expectations.
And I would throw in around 70% completion rate as well.
Yeah, I'd be fine with like 68.
Yeah, close to it.
69.
Yeah. Improvement.
So, I think that's what everyone wants to see. They want to see the offense take the step forward.
Mm-hmm.
And if we see that offense take the step forward but don't make the playoffs, I think people will be satisfied. As much as that pains me to stay and think about. Because, hey, this division is so tough right now, you could finish 11-6 and not make the playoffs.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So
we just went 10-6, bro. We should have made the playoffs, for God's sake.
And we missed it. And what did I keep saying when I was on the other channel, bro? When I kept hearing about all these quarterbacks not performing on their second contract, what would I always say? What was my rebuttal? That's because they had to put up with the Patriot dynasty.
Right.
I said, but once that dynasty leaves, you're going to see the AFC balance itself out. And what happened last year? 10-6 wasn't good enough to make the playoffs, while 7-9 won the NFC East.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So we're going to drop the link right now. Want to hear your guys' expectations for the 2021 Miami Dolphins. And on top of the expectations, got to pose the question. If we don't make the playoffs, but Tua Tagovailoa and this offense takes a step forward, will you still be happy?
A lot of things can happen where that's a realistic thing. So don't want it, but
yeah, it is what it is, right? Martin, Show, Florida Born, and Red Comet. What's going on, everyone?
I guess.
Good evening, fellas.
What's up, brother?
How you guys doing? So I got to ask, we'll start with you, Martin, and I'm going to go through each and every one of you guys. What's your expectations for the season? And also, would you be okay if they miss the playoffs, but Tua takes the leap forward?
A lot of people might be a little upset with my answer right now, but expectations for the season is relatively low, only due to the realization that we're going to be playing and I don't want people to get this twisted as far as this whole thing about strength of schedule because of what the records were last year.
Yes, different teams now, right?
Different teams all together, different scenarios, different players. I want to throw that out the window, and I just want to say I looked at all of the teams' rosters of who we're going to play this year, and I just came out with the conclusion that, damn, everybody's good this year. Everybody's pretty good this year.
Yeah.
The AFC East is going to be a struggle. The NFC South is going to be a struggle. Um, the Ravens game is going to be a struggle. The Titans game is going to be a struggle. Raiders. I'm looking at the schedule like if we don't come out on both sides of the football and execute at a high level from week one. Forget about trying to warm up into this whole new thing. By week one, we're talking about a whole off season of polishing what we're going to do. By week two, we're talking about, okay, we got a game under our belt from week one. By week three, we have to be hitting on all cylinders because this schedule is not pretty. Like I'm just being, just candid. I don't want to, tear down anyone's hopes or anything, but I'm just being very, very real with you guys. These teams we're gonna play against are very, very well put together. However, our biggest advantage is Coach Flores. Um, matchups are everything in the NFL because everybody's pretty good. But coaching is the key, and the only coaches I see that can potentially outdo a Coach Flores head to head is as far as teams like the Bills, maybe the Patriots, the Ravens. Those are the only teams that I can just see us, taking a respectable L from. But everyone else, man, we cannot miss on just perfect assignment football. We just got to play with our hair on fire every week. And I would be I would not be upset if the Dolphins were to miss the playoffs, but we see progression from Tua because honestly, the whole thing about this upcoming season, not only for our sake, but for other platforms, we're not going to talk about some of them, but they want to see Tua fail, so I want to see Tua succeed. So I'm waiting for that.
All right, so I'm gonna go through you guys one by one. So Florida born, what are your expectations for this season? A playoff berth? Do you expect us to not make the playoffs? A divisional, a conference championship, a Super Bowl appearance, and would you be upset? Now, I know we'd all be a little bit bothered if we didn't make the playoffs, but at the end of the day, would you be upset if we didn't make the playoffs, but we saw Tua make that leap and we came away from this season knowing we had the franchise quarterback?
Mainly, I wouldn't be upset. That's my main thing. I want to see Tua come out and shut everybody up because I'm so sick of all these people just dogging this humble man who's done nothing but fight adversity. So I wouldn't be mad at that. The fan in me and my gut, like I just feel it in my gut that we could make it to the conference. Do I expect that? No, I just, I expect us to make it to the playoffs. But again, I wouldn't be mad as long as Tua shows he's our guy.
Show, you're next up, bro. What are your expectations? Playoffs?
Yeah.
Either just the berth or going to a certain round. And would you be upset if we didn't make the playoffs, but Tua showed that he was a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, gotcha. My expectations 11 to 12 games. You know what I mean? Right around there. The schedule's getting tougher. I get it. And, we're a little bit more known now, so teams are going to be playing us a little differently. But when it comes to playoffs and Tua, I want the franchise quarterback. I want to know that that's fixed. So I'm going to take Tua. We know we got a franchise quarterback. We got a top 10 quarterback moving forward. That's what's most important to me because I think we can, we'll get it corrected. If we don't make the playoffs this year, we'll get it corrected fast. And the last thing I'm going to say on this, if you look at the last 10 Super Bowls, guys, this is kind of interesting. Everyone's going to this off-script type quarterback, the future of the NFL. If you think of the last 10 Super Bowl winners, you got Mahomes and you got Russell Wilson. Other than that, it was Eli, it's Manning, older Peyton Manning, it's Tom Brady, it was Nick Foles. You know what I mean? And a lot of those teams had good defenses, and that's kind of like the image of the team we're building. So I kind of trust that. And the last thing I'll say is if you go look at Tom Brady's first Super Bowl back in 2001, I think it was, against the Rams, if you look at his stats that year and you average Tua's stats out for an entire season, they're extremely similar. And I just think that's the type of team we're building. So I trust Flo. I trust the defense. And I think, the type of quarterback that, he wants, we have. So that's my take, guys.
Red Comet, what are your expectations for this team in terms of playoffs, divisional, conference, Super Bowl? And would you be upset if they didn't make the playoffs, but Tua showed he was a franchise quarterback?
Man, I would be a little upset by not making the playoffs, but if Tua showed he was a quarterback, yes. Like, I don't know if defenses will be able to like have a game plan against us for that, but with the wide receiver core we have.
And what are so you'd be fine with him showing he's a QB1 if we didn't make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Logan, what are your thoughts on these expectations for this 2021 season?
All right, here's my take. I would be like everyone else. I would be upset and bothered if we don't make the playoffs. But I believe Tua's going to make that big improvement leap, and I think he will. And that's what I'm really looking forward to, seeing him making that improvement. And if we miss out the playoffs and he shows he's our future, I'll take that. But of course, we want to make in the playoffs, and I'm going probably around 12-5. There's play some good football teams as of the Titans. I'm looking at the Bucks, Colts, Buffalo, the Saints. Well, they don't have Drew Brees anymore. The Ravens, and yeah, so I'm just looking forward to the schedule release.
All right, keeping it rolling here. Deep dive. What are your thoughts on this?
So just off the bat on like opponents, like away opponents, I think it's crazy how we shorted getting into the playoffs, and yet we still have like probably one of the hardest strength of schedules in the league. So it's kind of BS. But besides that, yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. I think that if Tua does make a huge jump, but we miss the playoffs. Being a Dolphins fan, like a lifelong Dolphins fan, man, like I'm so used to disappointment. Like that would be honestly not disappointing to me at all. But I still really do want to make the playoffs. But just because, I'm used to not making the playoffs and being disappointed, any sort of like positive, I think would be okay. Just like I'm not disappointed with this season. So
what about if we don't make the playoffs, but Tua takes the leap?
Yeah, if Tua takes the leap, we don't make the playoffs. That's perfectly fine with me. I really want to make the playoffs, and I feel like it would be a little disappointing, but like I said, I'm used to disappointment, and I think that any improvement at all in the team would be, especially in Tua, would be good enough for me.
So sad that we're talking about Dolphin fans and saying we're used to disappointment.
Yeah.
Ennis Campbell, what would your expectations be for the season, and would you be mad if we didn't make the playoffs, but Tua showed that he's a franchise guy and took that leap?
I wouldn't be upset if we didn't make the playoffs. I'd be kind of disappointed, just not upset. But I'd be happy that Tua shut up the haters. But I'm on 13-4 or 12-5. I don't see more than 5 losses. I know that he would say he think teams are improved, but as far as any games that I'm worried about, of course, would be Tampa and Baltimore. Colts with Wentz, our defense, we have to understand, Coach Flo 3 years in his defense, our defense should be number 1 or 2 this year. That's what I'm expecting. You know what I'm saying? His side of the ball should be major upgrade. Like each year it has took a different stride as far as excelling. So this year should be the year we see that our defense be up there as one of the best in the league. And that should carry us to at least 4 to 5 losses only. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking optimistic because the offensive side, if that's our weakness and our defense plays lights out, okay, that's going to give time to a lot of chances to show because our defense is going to give them the ball a lot of times. Like I said in your last one, I'm going to keep it short after this. A guy that came back after a surgery like that and balled the way he did, none of the quarterbacks, everybody trying to hate on him, would have played at all last year. So for him to play and the stats he put up, I'm rocking with him until he showed me different. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Will, what are your expectations for this season? And would you be upset if we didn't make the playoffs, but Tua showed he's the number one guy?
What's up, guys? Okay, so my take on this situation is I'm expecting about 11 or 5. About 11 or 12 wins. So about 11-6 or 12-5. If it was a 16-game schedule, I was predicting to remain about the same or improve by 1 game. But since the 17-game schedule, I'll predict that we improve by 2 games. I'm expecting Tua to be a good quarterback this year. Not great. I think that he has the potential to be a great quarterback by year 4, year 5. I think year 2, he's going to show that, first of all, he'll be a different player from last year. He'll be much more mobile, have a stronger arm. So I think he'll be good, and I think he'll silence the doubters enough to prove that he's definitely the guy going forward. If he shows improvement and we miss the playoffs, I'm going to be pissed off, but that means that there's a deeper problem going on. So if we're a relatively healthy team, like this roster, I don't see any glaring holes on this roster. We have a lot of explosiveness on offense, and there's some defensive stalwarts on this team going into their 2nd and 3rd year on this defense. Your Davises and Wilkins and Rose and Howards and Joneses. I mean, these guys I think are going to have unbelievable years if they're all healthy. So I think the defense is going to be in the top 5. Like, if we don't make the playoffs, I think it's either a problem with, and the team is healthy, relatively speaking, I think it's either a problem with coaching or a problem with Tua. So one of those 2 things are going to have to be evaluated if we don't make the playoffs and the team's relatively healthy. But all in all, I think Tua is going to be good. Show he's going to be the guy. To wrap it up, I see 11 or 12 wins. And I do think we're going to win a playoff game. And just I want to say, man, I'm on Long Island, and I'm very excited about that Giants game because I got a lot of friends that are Giants fans. I want to spank them. And can we finally beat the Ravens this year? Please, for God's sake, can we finally beat the Ravens this year, man? I've had enough of the Ravens.
Well, not only the Ravens. Did you know that Josh Allen's 6-0 against us?
Yeah, I'm painfully aware. You know what? I didn't know he was 6-0. I'm painfully aware of our struggles against Buffalo, though, especially in Buffalo, man.
Josh Allen has never lost to the Miami Dolphins.
The last time we beat Buffalo in Buffalo, was that 2016? The last time we won in Buffalo?
It might have been week 17, I think.
Yeah, bro. We gotta step it up against Buffalo.
Didn't we beat Buffalo in 2018, like home?
In Miami, though, I think.
I thought we did, right? Maybe I'm catching a blink.
We haven't beaten Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think Tyrod Taylor was starting back then. You're right.
Yeah, it was Tyrod.
All right. Yeah.
My best friend is a freaking Buffalo fan. You know how much shit I gotta hear about Josh Allen and how Tua's garbage.
Oh my
I
God.
cannot stand it, bro.
I was working the other day, and I was talking to a Buffalo fan. He said we had a really good season.
I swear they're like the new New England fans to me.
Which is going to be so sweet because they're not going to last that long.
Right. They haven't won anything yet, and they're about to get knocked off their high horse because Phillips is about to tear Josh Allen's face off his skull. It's going to be beautiful.
So apparently Josh Allen is 4-1 against the Dolphins, according to the Sun Sentinel. So he has 1 loss to us. Thankfully.
What was that?
Yeah, I'm thinking what year was
I didn't read the article, but
because Tyrod beat us both times in 2017. 2018.
Wow.
Josh Allen was drafted in 2018. So
yeah,
we lost week 17. We lost that. I think we let me look this up here right now.
And why are you looking that up? Reason
he's 5-1 now. 5-1. This was written before the last game of the season.
Well, while we're confirming, I'm just gonna say Tim Tebow to the Jaguars is not a surprise.
Not at all.
Not a surprise.
Not at all.
Urban Meyer understands the significance.
Oh yeah, so we did beat him. We beat him in the first game he ever played against us.
Yeah,
We-
I
We,
thought
we beat them.
so.
We beat them 21-17, and then he beat us 4 weeks later, 42-17.
Was that the game where he had like 500 total yards
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
ridiculous? Yeah.
In week
Okay.
17, that was
Yeah.
his rookie year. Yeah, I remember that game.
I
Well, we
remember.
Sunday, December.
Yeah.
He threw 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
Two
Yeah,
interceptions.
was it-
Tannehill
game
threw
that-
for 137 yards. that
I
game.
remember that.
That's when we officially moved on from Tannehill.
I remember that game.
That's why a lot of Dolphins fans are so like down on Tua. It's just they're having flashbacks to when we, weren't good in the quarterback department, and they just don't realize that he needs time. But I think what's it called? We never were able to stop the run also so on defense, and now we're starting to shift towards that. With Bernardrick McKinney, now we're shoring up like the edge position. We have like
Right.
good outside linebacker and Jalen Phillips, and really good D line. And I don't know, it just feels like we can handle our business there now. And we can always put Javon Holland, spy him on a running quarterback. So I think we're pretty solid now. I think we can handle our business. But we'll see.
Lamar ain't throwing 5 touchdowns again.
Nah,
Hey,
Not
hey,
anymore.
It's a no-fly
Hey,
zone.
Hey, I know everybody's hype on Phillips, but man, I just feel like if Holland makes that has a great rookie year, man, it's how are you gonna throw on our secondary, man, with Holland at safety, X and Jones?
I feel like
It's
people
like-
are being way too dismissive of the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh no.
That- hey,
we are. I
that-
don't think we are. Just log
I think
lockdowns.
the only teams that scare me on that is New England, the Bills, and Tennessee, and maybe Baltimore. But I think Flo's gonna shut.
Look at. I mean, the
I
AFC East.
I think
man.
Flo's gonna shut Jackson down, though, man. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but
I
what
think-
I'm saying
so.
here is like the AFC East
It's getting real.
It's difficult.
Oh,
It's gonna get
yeah.
difficult.
And the Jets.
I'm not
worried about the-
guys,
gonna be
the Jets
harder
are
than
making
last
good-
year.
the Jets
Right.
are
I'm not
making
worried
good
about the Jets.
decisions, man.
Listen,
The
They're
Jets are
making
no
good
longer
I'm
a
not worried about
joke.
the Jets. Well, no,
Yeah.
listen. So the Jets built their team with young talent, right? So here's the thing about young talent: it takes time to develop. And the Patriots, they built their team in free agency and with a very good head coach and GM and all this kind of stuff. So I'm worried about them because they could be better and they're getting a lot of players back. But the Jets, they're a young team with a first-year head coach. Like, I don't see it this year, maybe next year, but I'm not worried about them. I'm more worried about the Bills and the Patriots.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
Jets, the way they're
We're not
building
saying
right
we're
now,
worried about the Jets
and-
yet. We're just
yeah,
saying
but-
they're on the come.
yeah, exactly. And the team that's on the come up like them, they're the
Yeah.
type of team that could sneak away a win from you.
Right.
Absolutely.
The first year, right?
So I'm definitely more worried about the Patriots than the Jets. I just see the Patriots again having and the Jets aren't going to be a joke anymore. I just see the Patriots again having quarterback deficiencies where Cam, I think, is done, and I don't think that you're going to see great quarterback play from Mac Jones as a rookie. So I don't think they're going to get good enough quarterback play, especially against a defense like ours, to be a really great threat. But hey, I could be wrong.
But the thing is, they're going to get great defensive play, and I think they're going to
Yeah.
keep it real simple on offense, bro. I don't think you're going to see anything. And this whole Jets rise, remember, I've been calling it for over a year. Since last draft, I've been warning people because everyone has their
built
vendetta
well.
against the Jets. I've been warning that they had a great GM in place. And they're gonna get things right. And last draft, they had a very good draft, even with Adam Gates
Man.
involved. Clearly, it was out of his hands. It was Douglas. They sniped Ashton Davis right before us. Y'all haven't even seen Ashton Davis on the field yet.
Right.
Let's just hope that Zach Wilson struggles for some time.
That's going to be their downfall, I think, is
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I mean,
But
let's
kinda
hope-
like-
let's hope so. Go ahead.
Kind of like Reason said, though, about, don't count out the Jets. A lot of people counted us out last year. Nobody saw us doing what we did last year. And I
No.
look at the Jets kind of like we were last year.
No, we're a year ahead of them, though. I think they're where we were in 2019, and that's why I'm saying that they're not going to have a great season.
That 2019 team was shit, bro. We had
Yeah,
that
they
was
were awful.
torn down. Nothing, bro. We didn't have a Mekhi Becton on that team.
No,
No,
That's true.
Yeah.
We didn't have a Corey Davis, buddy. They went out
not
and
even
got,
a Denzel Mims.
never
That's
mind,
true.
and Elijah Moore.
Right.
Look at the
Right.
receiving core, bro. The receiving core is legit. shit.
Very good.
Yeah.
And they drafted Michael Carter.
I would
Right.
say they're more
Right.
like our team last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And they're
so,
Didn't
so
they
like-
add somebody
Good,
else?
man.
Didn't they
The
add
defense
somebody
is
else
good.
on the O line?
Yeah, they got
Well, Vera Tucker, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vera Tucker.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, an interior probably. Yeah.
Yeah, right next to Mekhi Becton.
right
bro.
now that's a good left side of the line right there, man. No, the Jets are no joke. They're not a joke. And I'm worried. I mean, Zach Wilson. I'm not worried about him against us, but
No.
you know, if he plays, if he's up to billing, then he could be this year's, Justin Herbert. He could be that type of guy this year. We're throwing for a lot of yards and making a lot of wow type of throws. But
But
we
he
beat
won't
the
be
shit out
winning
of
too
Herbert.
much.
So.
Yeah, they won't be winning too much. I
Yeah,
will say
I expect 6 to 8 wins for them.
Yeah.
And
close to it.
I like I said, if they win 6 to 8 games, there's some of those games you can bet your bottom dollar are going to be games none of y'all expect them to win when the schedule comes out.
I bet.
Yeah, it's just that the
Wouldn't
East is
surprise me.
definitely on the rise. And
Yep,
Yeah,
big
bro.
time.
whether the
Watch
Jets,
them beat the
have a
Bucs.
great year this year or
Yeah.
not, they're on the uprise and going into the next year. I mean, this is no joke, man. This division right now.
Tough division.
And if we're gonna compare Brian Flores' first year to Robert Saleh's first year, like how you all are saying, team versus team, the Jets are so much more talented in Saleh's first year
Yeah.
versus Flores. Flores literally
Sure.
gutted the
1000%.
entire team in 2019, and we were playing with reserve, practice squad players,
right.
throughout the season. So I expect the Jets to be much better than
Look at
we
this.
anticipate.
Look at this, bro. Look at this.
True.
Okay.
Facts.
This is a starting offensive line. Right
Yeah.
tackle George Fant, who's no slouch. Right guard Greg Van Rotten. Their center is very good, Connor McGovern. Right? Then they got Elijah Vera Tucker, left guard, and Mekhi Becton, left tackle.
That's not bad.
Here's the receiving core. Here's just their top 4 guys. Corey Davis, Denzel Means, Jamison Crowder, Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I
Very
forgot
good.
they got
That's
Elijah.
good.
That's right. Yeah.
Very good.
That's really
And they
good.
ended
They're
up getting
light years
Michael
ahead where
Carter,
we were.
too.
Right. No
Yeah.
Carter in the
And
back.
then they're-
Yeah.
CJ
Michael
Mosley.
Carter.
And then their running back.
Yep.
Michael
CJ
Carter.
CJ
They
Mosley.
value the
Michael
tier
P.
2
Ryan.
running back.
And look at who they got. Michael P. Ryan, Tevin Coleman,
Yep, Coleman.
and Michael Carter. So
Yeah.
they got a decent little mixture there. It's just their defense needs to continue to be upgraded. Their corners are going to be, a problem for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they-
Tevin Coleman should be a starter, by the way. He's
Yeah, I
that
know.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point reasons
he's a good
making
back.
guys in the chat is that they're a team. Their record at the end of the year might be really poor,
Sure.
but those wins that they get are going to show people how good they can be, and they
Right.
can sneak up on you. That's the point he's trying to make.
Yeah.
I could see them competing with teams like,
Close games.
yeah.
The days of being a joke are over.
That's
Totally.
it.
In the
exactly.
in the AFC East, yes.
And you know what's
altogether.
even better, Martin? We name all those players on offense, and they're bringing over Shanahan's system.
right?
Yeah,
Precise.
we're not.
Ooh.
No one's sitting there
It's the
saying
San
that they're
Francisco
making the
of the
playoffs
East.
this year.
Yeah, I said 6 to 8 wins.
No, I
Matt.
agree with you. I've
You
done
know
it
what I
to the
mean?
chat.
Yeah, but-
what we're
but-
saying is on the young quarterbacks in the AFC East, and these teams are all on the rise. The next 2 or 3 years, this is
Gonna
going
be
to
fun.
be a freaking gauntlet, man. Yeah.
I
It's gonna be fun to watch.
we most of us or all of us respect Saleh.
Yeah.
And if Flo got
Yeah.
5
Yes.
wins out of that team, and he has a better team, we should expect a little better, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I agree.
The only,
And because we all agreed Robert Saleh was the best coaching hire this offseason.
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
the only
Great GM, great
there
coach.
is- the only joke there is Houston.
Yeah.
Nah. Houston will be a trap game, bro.
Yeah, watch.
That's
Jaguars are
an
not gonna be
easy
good.
trap game. And
The
the
only-
Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars aren't going to be good. I feel like they only addressed offense, really. They had like a couple of defensive
No.
picks, but
I'm
They got
trying to
Jaylen
tell
Mosley,
y'all,
didn't
man.
yeah, but they only got one like defensive piece. I don't know. They need a lot of pieces, and they're
But-
missing a
I
lot.
said-
Yeah.
The Jaguars drafted Andre Cisco, who was arguably
did.
one of the best
Love that
deep
pick.
cover safeties in the
In
draft.
Syracuse. Yep.
Yeah.
And they addressed a lot of like you said, offensive positions. Trevor Lawrence is in a really good position as well, because not a lot of people are expecting the Jaguars to do much this year,
which actually promotes a young quarterback like that who's actually really talented to come in and just wing it. And that's what I mean by that might be a trap game, bro. Like he
But I don't
can
trust.
just
I don't think Urban Meyer is going to do that great as the first time NFL head coach. I don't know. That's what like worries me a bit. I think the Jets could actually be a decent team. I'm saying I'm not worried about them, as in like they're not going to be like contenders in the AFC East. But
You could make an argument
they're
that
still
the
a decent
Jags,
team.
I mean,
Jags,
the Jags have you could make the argument the Jags have a better defense right now than the Jets.
Yeah, I was gonna say their wide receiving core is not bad. They got the good running game. I'm not real familiar with the Jags all line. I don't think
they got Shark, they got Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault Jr.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Guys.
They went and got my boy Josh Imatorbhebhe. You know,
But
their running
they had
game is legit.
James Robinson,
O-line
Travis
struggled
Etienne.
last year, though, right?
Yeah.
O-line problem.
Their O-line, you know, they got
Tim-
Cam Robinson and Jawan Taylor at their tackle.
Tim Tebow at tight end. You know,
Yeah, I know,
they
right?
loaded, bro.
There we go.
Listen to this. If they can actually turn Dylan Moses around, which I told y'all he would go undrafted, their starting linebackers would be Miles Jack, Joe Schobert, and Dylan Moses.
That's really good.
And then up front, they got
my
Devon
boy
Hamilton.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, they got Josh Allen, and they drafted Devon Hamilton last year from Ohio State.
And they still got Clevon. They still got Clevon.
Isn't ever Josh Allen?
And they got Clevon Chason as well. Yep. And who did they sign? CJ Henderson had a really good rookie year at corner.
Yep.
And they went out and they signed Shaquille Griffin.
They're good. They have a lot of talent.
And who else did they take, bro? Remember they drafted Tyson Campbell at the top of the second round, right?
That's true.
Corner.
They're very talented, man. They got a
They'll be
talented
interesting.
team.
Yeah.
Every team you like at the beginning of the offseason, everybody thinks that every team's going to be great. They look at the roster, they see pieces, but it doesn't mean it. Like I don't know. I just don't see it happening for them at all.
Coaching and matchups is everything in the NFL. Every team is always going to have great, talented players on the rosters, but when you can put together really game plans, I agree.
A lot of things have to happen. A lot of things have to go right. I mean, look at the San Francisco 49ers coming off the Super Bowl, appearance, and then the injuries. They lost Nick Bosa early, right? And then Jimmy G was up and down. They just got decimated by injuries. So, yeah, no one could predict a season. I mean, I live in the area, so I just was really tuned into the Niners. A bunch of friends are Niner fans, not me, but a lot of things went really, right for them the year they went to the Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of things
Jacksonville also has a
broke
very
for
nice
them.
running
But
back.
you just never know what's going to happen with injuries, and players are going to emerge. Yeah.
Jacksonville's also in a division where any team at any time could win the division.
Yeah,
very
it's
true.
wide open.
Yeah,
You're right.
Very true. The AFC South is quietly like the NFC East when it comes to we don't know who's going to win.
Watch the Texans win it, man. I'm just kidding.
Right.
It's possible.
They could.
The 1 year we don't have their draft pick, they finally win it. I love it.
They definitely could. I mean,
Yeah, that'd be nuts. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of good young teams on the come up, man. I'm not discounting teams yet.
That's why it's so important and vital for us to just keep players at certain positions, especially on our offensive line. We just have to leave players. I'm just saying we have to leave players at their position: left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle for 8 games in a row. Don't change anything. Just stay there. Just get comfortable in your stance at your position and find cohesion amongst each other. I think that's when the offensive line starts to kind of grow with each other and begin, their not dominance, but just solid performances game in and game out. We just need guys to just stay there, and I hope the coaches really see that as the best way to go about this.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is though, we didn't play bad as an O-line last year. It wasn't the best, but we were all very young. It was a very young O-line. It was average, but it was pretty decent for them being so young. And now that we've got Liam Eichenberg, who's he's a really solid tackle. I think we could be okay in that department. Shore up the right side maybe with him, and then slide Hunt into guard like Reason's been saying. Yes. I think we've got a really good offensive line. I mean, I don't know if I fully trust Matt Skura, but I mean, he was pretty good center for a bit besides the snapping problem last year. So I mean, I think it would be okay. I trust the coaching staff a lot. I feel like we're making a lot of like moves behind the scenes and things that are going on, and there's a lot of strategy that we just can't see, and things always seem to come into place for them. So seems like they know what they're doing. So I don't know.
Man, like I've said, I'm a pretty snake bitten fan. This team has burned me almost every single time I've gotten my hopes up. Almost every single time I've gotten my hopes up about this freaking team. They
You're
burned
a baby,
me.
bro.
But I know.
Thank you, Lionel.
I know. I was born in '87, but I will say though. So I realistically I missed the best years of Marino. I was I was 8 when he was awesome.
Severe heartbreak in '87 by the time you were born, man.
I know. I will say though, like I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think the only way this team doesn't make the playoffs or fails considerably is if there's some kind of big problem with the coaching staff that we don't see, or if there's injuries, because I think we really improved in the places that we needed to improve, like the offensive line, where we were not, like we just said, it wasn't terrible last year. It was just average. I think with Eichenberg and with some better play there with Skura, I think we're going to be better up front. We're going to have better pass protecting. We're going to be able to run the ball a little better. We're going to be able to run the ball a lot better because of how much cushion the defense is going to give us with the speed we have on offense. And speed-wise, we have as much explosive young talent as any team in the NFL. I mean, even at tight end with Gesicki. I mean, and on defense, where we needed to improve on the edge, we got a beast in Phillips. Got a ball-hawking free safety we needed. We added to an already ridiculous secondary. I mean, McKinney is an enforcer, middle linebacker that we really needed. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I got to be cautiously optimistic, but this team, I think we match up with anybody, man. I got a lot of hope for it.
But we do have to take into consideration that I think defenses will allow Tua to prove that he can, make plays in this league.
That's
because
true.
of how there's a smearing campaign going on. Everybody wants a quarterback to get traded to the Dolphins or draft another quarterback over Tua. I believe these defenses, just to see if it got into Tua's head, they're going to play everybody as far as heavy box and then tight coverage. They want to see if Tua can really make plays, and I anticipate Tua to really take advantage of that early. Once that occurs, I think that's when the offensive line is really going to flourish, because now when you have Tua making these passes and taking advantage of what the defense is giving him, that's when the running game really opens up, and you have a guy like Myles Gaskin, or even I'm interested to see what this rookie's gonna do too, man. Jared Dokes. He looks like he can be a really good piece as far as the relief power back that can get us like
he's our dark horse.
Yeah, I can see him turning into that type of James Robinson situation. I can see that happening if we use him the right way in situational football. Yep. But they're going to give Tua the opportunity to beat them first. I think that's what these defenses are going to do early. So I got my fingers crossed that Tua just meets the challenge and just makes it happen.
I hope so.
I call Jared Dokes the great value brand Najee. So we'll see.
We'll see.
So reason and panel. We did. Larry had a show Saturday, and we really had a problem on seeing who he was going to keep at receiving corps because we got so many. And it was a big thing between if we were going to keep Wilson or who was it, Rhino? Foster,
yeah.
Or Merrick, yeah. Foster, yeah. Wilson.
I'll take.
And there was a lot.
Me too, Wilson.
There was a lot of negative energy for DVP, when we were talking. So
trade him, get rid of him. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of rough. Yeah. And reason I just want to say this, I kind of had your back. Someone, I think it was Pete, that pointed out the mods and everything you're doing. Like it was something brand new, when I think TD was doing it.
Yeah, I did membership. I did memberships before TD and Dudley.
Yeah, me and Ryan had your back on that, so I just want to let you know. But yeah,
wait, what happened with that?
I think Pete was just pointing out that TD was doing it like it was, like it was brand new or something awesome and stuff like that. That's all.
Pedro was
That-
giving credit to TD for slicing bread.
It was not a rip on TD or anything like that. It was just that, we just said, hey, well, Reason have been doing that for a while, that's all. You know what I mean? And so
Oh yeah, now I remember that.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I was there.
I think
And Reason even took it further. We get them cool emojis with it and everything, bro. He didn't just do a membership.
I had two that were supposed to debut today.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different people do it, but the reason you're the first one I saw do it, man. So
yeah.
New emotes
Yeah,
on
it was
Wednesday,
awesome.
guys.
Yeah, sweet.
I'll have 2 new emojis on Wednesday for the members and stuff like that, because I'm able to unlock 12 of them. So I have a special Chris Greer one, and I have a special Raekwon Davis one coming. So they were supposed to be done today, but something happened with my graphic guys, so they'll be here
So
tomorrow, but I'm not going live tomorrow. So
what's your gut reason? Who's gonna win, Skura or Dieter?
Skura.
Yeah, there's a lot on that too.
Dieter hasn't even taken a live snap yet. Dieter hasn't communicated disguised blitzes. Dieter hasn't ever had to pick up loopers. Dieter has never had to ID mics and Sams and Wills. He's never had to do any of that stuff.
We're putting a lot on
way
Skura.
behind.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks that eventually Liam Eichenberg could be center, like a few years down the line. I don't know why, but he mentioned it in his press conference, like something about playing center, and they were like, "Have you ever played center?" And he's like, "Nope." But it makes me think that the coaching staff talked to him about it. I don't know.
That's just what he said. He said, "I'll line up wherever they want me to."
Right.
Well, it's funny. People were talking about cutting Dieter when we were doing the exercise with Larry. We're like, dude, we're not real deep there. I mean, we can't afford to get rid of guys. You know what I mean? Because we've got 13 receivers for God's sakes. But that's the center position still got me pretty nervous. Just gonna be honest. And we're kind of hoping that Skura comes back to form, which he was, doing him. I think he played really well in 2019 before he, had the knee blown out. Then he came back early last year, I guess, right? It was he blew out his knee in December of 19, ended up coming back he made the opener last year, right? Which is kind of shocking.
Yeah, he played. Yeah.
He came back quick, so we're hoping, man, that guy, recovers. And I'm not even going to get into that.
The other thing that Dieter, centers are at a disadvantage. Are the one player on the football field, they're at a disadvantage at the snap of the ball, right? Because you've got your hand on the ball and you've got your head up, and when you snap the ball, guys are already moving. You're not moving yet.
You got new members, I think. Reason.
Yeah, I believe it was Kyle Bowe 2 different times.
Oh, and he upgraded now. Yeah, cool.
Oh, appreciate the upgrade, Kyle. But yeah, you're at a disadvantage as a center, right? Like you got your head up, you got ID stuff that's going on in front of you. Then you got to snap the ball. Then you got to get into either your pass set or your run set.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're actually at a disadvantage as a center. Remember Quinn Miners talked about this when he was up here.
Right.
Damn,
And that's why call me irrational. Freaking Hunter Long better be a solid tight end.
Yeah. That was
I will
that got
forever
me
be
too.
pissed.
Yeah. When Quinn was on the board, that one was.
He better work out.
I believe
agree.
Hunter Long. I believe Hunter Long will work out only because he's such a smart football player, and honestly, for him to do what he did at Boston College, like out of all the schools you can go to, he shined, man. He outperformed, his position on the team, and I believe Hunter Long, placed in this situation. The hope is that Gesicki, we can keep Gesicki, but trust me, if we lose out on Gesicki in free agency, Hunter Long can come in and still be just as, reliable and effective. Now, obviously, we're going to be missing like those dynamic catches. Obviously, we love the wild catches, but trust me when I say he is as reliable as any tight end coming out of the draft.
He has that too,
probably ever.
He's made some really a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Really good press, man. Yeah,
he trust me. He's capable of making those acrobatic catches, but he'd rather use both of his hands instead of like just trying to be, flashy and he's not a flashy player at all. He just makes the plays when the plays come to him. Like I like him. I like him, man.
Yeah, that's good, man. Good to hear, because I'm hearing a lot of people that actually watched him or know more about him that are pretty high on him. So that's optimistic.
Yeah, he's super. The entire draft was nothing but super solid players, man. The entire draft.
To that point, it's like I understand like someone was like complaining about some of the players we didn't draft, but every time we didn't draft a guy, we got a guy, right? Like last year, Dobbins, we ended up with Raekwon Davis, right? Because Dobbins didn't fall to us. This year, I know that Javonte Williams was a huge deal. We ended up with Holland, right? And then we didn't get Quinn Miners, but we ended up, with Hunter Long. So we're getting good players, man. Regardless.
Yeah. They're literally trying to build a roster just full of guys that can get the job done, man. Because trust me, in the league, it does get a little redundant, repetitive. Some guys lose the passion, but they're literally drafting guys where the only way they're going to lose the passion is when they retire. Like I feel like that's how they draft. They're just getting a whole bunch of guys that love to play the game.
Yeah, and like how we think about drafting, like how we think about players we want. We're thinking about what we want on the team, and we don't have to think about who we have to dispel. Even though sometimes we do, they have to balance the budget, and they have to look at like how their cap and everything, and like how much salaries are. So like with Hunter Long, they could be very well flushing the tight end room besides Mike Gesicki, so they can keep him. So then we have Gesicki and Hunter Long, and then get rid of Shaheen and Smythe. So it's like they did the same thing with Bobby McCain. Like his contract was weighing down the cap, and like. They drafted Javon Holland in the second round because he's extremely talented. Now, okay, well, we can get rid of Bobby and save some money. So it's like you have to make business decisions. And part of it isn't just drafting like for positions or drafting like because you like a player. It's sometimes you have to make strategic decisions. And that's, I think, part of what we don't see sometimes.
Absolutely. But that's why Chris Greer, is in my opinion, probably going to get like GM of the year. Like he
definitely.
He's made up in his mind a while ago that he's not going to fall for, the Tannenbaum okie doke. Oh, the media saying this, so I'm going to do that. Or the fans want this, so I'm going to do that. Greer does none of that. He does his homework. He believes in what he sees on film, and he puts things in order, and then he makes the decision, man. It's very black and white for him. So look, I'm just glad that they're steadily building, putting pieces together, putting blocks together, and then eventually when it comes time, it's gonna be rewarding to see a team that can go out week in and week out and compete with anybody. That's what we're really building into. Forget about winning the Super Bowl and all that. Let's just create a team that can go head to head with any team in the NFL any week, and we still stand a chance to win. That's the only team I want to be created. So
year in, year
that's
out.
what they're doing. Year in and year out. That's what they're putting together.
Yeah, and I like that the first two, out of our first three picks, two of them were, defense, right? Which has told you that best player available, right? And the defense, Phillips, and then McKinney, and then Holland. That's three phases on defense.
Yes, absolutely. D-line, linebacker, secondary.
You know what I mean? And that was just kind of looking like I was talking earlier about some of the past Super Bowl winners. And a lot of it, came from the pocket passers, but teams that were just built solid with good defenses, in the image of New England.
I will say this too, the show. When it comes to like you're saying, these Super Bowl winners, and most of them being pocket passers, this is true. However, even when you see a Mahomes win and a Russell Wilson win, I'm more convinced that it's not so much just being a pocket passer, but it's more so which quarterback just makes the best decisions in those tough moments. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Because I can recall in the game, the Seahawks versus the 49ers, I remember Russell Wilson throwing a fourth down play where the 49ers jumped off sides, and he basically threw like a pass in the back of the end zone to Jermaine Kearse. for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was like that was such a great decision at that moment in time that it doesn't matter if he can scramble or if he's strictly a pocket guy. Whoever makes the best decisions at those moments in time will eventually put their team in the best position to win the games. So it's obviously pocket passer is more of that style because it's structured like that, and a scrambler is more off script. But trust me, even with the scrambler like Mahomes, off script, if you're just making great decisions, even when you're outside of the pocket, it can put your team in a better position to win. So
No doubt.
I'm just saying everything is strictly on who makes the best decision at those difficult moments where you're trying your best to move the ball in pressure packed situations, which is playoff football. It's a completely different beast and atmosphere when it's win or go home. It really is. The whole dynamic of the play calling, turnovers, everything intensifies. So whoever can maintain their composure and just make those solid reads, solid decisions, those are the guys that are normally going to put their team in the best positions of success and potentially a Super Bowl. So
that's why it's so hard, right, Martin? It's so hard to find these quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because these are the intangibles that are hard to measure.
Yes.
Like all of
Intangibles.
Yep.
hard to measure.
That's real. Mm-hmm.
Smart.
I mean,
how they're going to translate to the NFL.
Well, one thing that bothers me about Mac Jones is apparently he was getting really frustrated and like all kinds of things, like his first couple of years, like whatever it was, and they had to like coach him to be like a little bit more tolerable. And like I feel like that's just something like you can learn it, but I mean when things get really tough, you know what I mean? Like how will you be? Because he was on a really good team and it wasn't like he went through that many woes. So saying that like about his character, kind of was a huge red flag for me. So I just don't know if he's got it, but we'll see. I don't know.
I'm not so sure about Mac Jones, but like you said, we'll see. Yeah.
I still believe Mac Jones is grossly overrated. I would like to to give him his respect because he did come in his first year and did very well. He was a very efficient passer, but it's very lazy, I think, to make comparisons with him and Tom Brady only because I think it's necessary to point out that Tom Brady, what he was doing at Michigan, he didn't really have those type of players around him at Michigan. We talk about Tua's weapons at Alabama when he played. Yes, Jerry Jeudy was good, Ruggs was good, Smith was good, everybody was good, but that extra year of added experience, you know what I mean? That's when you can actually see guys in their growth. Jaylen Waddle was waiting in the wings for all these other guys to leave. Mm-hmm. And when he got his opportunity, we clearly saw that he was the better receiver,
Yeah.
So he took full advantage of that reality. Like, whoa, Jaylen Waddle is the best receiver in Alabama. Let me keep throwing it to this guy. You know what I mean? So it's difficult to gauge exactly where to categorize Mac Jones, but I don't think he should have gone in the top 15. I don't think he should have went in the first round, to be honest.
No.
But because the hype was real,
I had a third round grade on him, bro.
Yeah,
it may be the third round, but
bro,
again,
Dante Collinelli had a 5th round grade on him.
Yeah, it's the need
grossly overrated.
Right? These guys
I would have taken Trask over him.
Martin, you didn't hear any. I would have taken Davis Mills over both of them. Martin, you didn't hear any first round, let alone top 10, top 15 talk about Mac Jones until Devontae and Jaylen Waddle stepped up and started blowing smoke up people's asses about him.
What about the 49ers and the smoke
really
screen
Chris
with the
Sims.
49ers? Do you think that really kind of
Hey, what's up, fellas?
boosted them up a little bit? Because the Niners have kind of admitted that was a smoke screen, man. So I don't know if that got his value.
No, because once Devontae started talking about him, I've already told you this. When I used to be with the Brawl Network, I was shown a text from an NFL scout that they were talking about him not getting past number 8, and that was after Devontae Smith came out and talked about him.
Okay. That's incredible.
And that was before the San Fran smoke.
Yeah.
Time will tell, though. Time will tell. We're gonna see if what all they're saying about him is what it is.
He kind of fits Bill Belichick's mold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Pocket guy, get the ball out quick. I don't need you to throw 40-yard bombs. Just process what's in front of you, get the ball out quick, and boom.
Yeah, but I do believe we still don't know what the Bill Belichick mold is without Tom Brady. Tom Brady was very much so
because they were so high on Josh Rosen in that draft process.
Yeah, that is true.
And look at Jared Stidham. What's Jared Stidham? Jared Stidham's cut from the same mold too.
Jimmy G.
Yeah, he's pretty pocket. But
Jimmy G's a little bit more athletic than those guys. Jacoby Brissett. Same exact thing, bro. Just control the game, bro.
Brian Hoyer, there's a bunch of quarterbacks that came out of the New England system that were very similar. The only one that's off the mark is like Cam Newton, and that's just because he's a generational. He's a generational type of player.
He was a generational type of player.
He
used to be a couple of years ago,
Yes. So
when he hit the scene, woo.
Yes.
When Cam came out, man, out of the gate, that was crazy.
2011 was still one of, and people forget about how people were trashing Cam coming out of Auburn, coming into that first game against the Cardinals, and he threw for over 400 yards or something like that. I was like, yeah, man, we have to stop listening to the media when they when they get going on some of these quarterbacks. But
reminds me of Justin Fields.
We'll leave Justin Fields for another day because that's a whole nother conversation.
What was you said about Justin Fields?
I said he reminds me sort of how people treated Cam, and similar kind of prototype, big arm, fast, just like all around kind of quarterback, like same type of thing. Not as like big or physical as Cam, but I don't know. People always like shit talk on mobile quarterbacks. I feel like.
Well, we can call it mobile.
Exactly. Yeah, you call it mobile African American quarterbacks.
It's been a bit of a situation since Cam Newton was coming out. But I will say that in Justin Fields' case, I don't know if they were too excited about his nonchalant attitude, because he's he's a little too calm for a lot of people's liking. But isn't that what you would like out of a quarterback when it comes to like high pressure situations for him to be calm?
Eli Manning was like that. Eli Manning was a Gomer, just same type of guy every single day. And he had some shitty seasons, but call it what it is, man. When the money was on the line, that guy has as good of a playoff record and as good of playoff numbers as anybody, man. He had two unbelievable playoff runs. Unbelievable.
People tried to crucify me at times when I said I'll take Eli over Peyton any day of the week, but
I wouldn't go that far, but I do like Eli.
I go that far because I love strong championship runs, and Eli had, like you said, two of them.
I love what he did for us, man. He stopped the Patriots, the evil empire,
twice.
Right. He destroyed the evil
I love that guy.
called New England. Yeah, I know.
He gets stuck on the road, needs a tire change. Like, call me, Eli. Like, I got you. Like you help me out. Like,
that's very real. That's very true.
Listen, I'll always love Eli for beating the Patriots twice, 110%. But like to go back to what you said about Justin Fields and kind of along the vein of the African American quarterbacks, like I think what you saw this year was like classic racism, like low key racism against the African American quarterbacks, like with what Orlovsky said, because I like Dan Orlovsky because he's always been a Tua guy too. But what he said about like Justin Fields, he's a little lazy in his preparation, like that was just completely made up. He just made that up, and he had to admit that he just made that shit up pretty much.
He didn't say that he was lazy. He said that somebody said that he was lazy, and he was just reporting what he heard, and that might have been bad information, so he shouldn't have reported on it, and which is the whole thing. But like I don't know, Trey Lance, he went pretty high, and nobody talks about him. He like that, but I mean, still, like there's a huge discrepancy against African American quarterbacks.
He's dating Colin Cowherd's daughter. They can't say
And
that.
right, and I will say this, man, not to throw any stones at anybody, but there is more of a preference of if you are a different shade of quarterback,
Sure.
you have to portray a certain line that you walk on. Like for instance, Russell Wilson, right?
Yep.
Awesome quarterback. We know his athletic profile, but when you hear him speak,
Yes.
you're like,
It's
man,
very
this guy's
proper.
not, yeah, right. Like this
Yeah.
guy's not from the hood or whatever,
Right.
which is fine, right? Which
He's
is
a nerd.
fine. You are who you are. However, Lamar Jackson, for instance,
He's
look,
from my hood, from Broward, man.
Pompano,
Yeah,
yeah. This,
Let's
this,
go.
if anybody's ever been to Pompano, just put it like this:
Yeah.
everything under the sun happens in Pompano. Let's
They
just
call
throw
it
that out
Comptonal,
there.
right? My friend lives down there. Calls it Comptonal.
It's rough. It's rough in Pompano, right? But
Oh,
Lamar Jackson, I'm not sure. Maybe it was just God given. He knew exactly how to conduct himself when it came to, being in college, being a professional. This guy doesn't get in trouble at all. But these evaluators, man, when they see him talk, when they see how he is, and they see, this kid's from the hood. They didn't really want to touch that, but they didn't want to admit that in that draft because the top 4 quarterbacks in their eyes were Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen. So it's like, there was a lot of playing with a double-edged sword when it comes to these type of quarterbacks. But I'm more of the stock. Whatever you put on film, that's what you are. And Lamar Jackson put on film his entire Louisville career. Constant, consistent progression, year after year after year. He should have been a top 10 pick. I would have said if the Jets didn't trade from 6 to 3, he should have went number 6 to the Jets. Like just from my observation. But again, who's doing the evaluation? What are they trying to avoid as far as liabilities or what have you? I get it. I get it. But still. Yeah. There's too much of undertones where it's like, come on, guys, like it's getting ridiculous. Just draft players that are good.
Martin, remember when you were on with Tyler came on and stuff like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that meme I put up?
Oh yeah.
Tua?
Yeah.
I literally had someone comment that they will no longer be subscribing to this channel because I put that
Oh
on.
my god.
Let them leave.
Fellas, how you doing?
I mean, it's all good. It's all good. But again, the truth does hurt a little bit. It does. It's the truth is actually meant to hurt in a reality where perception is reality. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. If you want to stay in a perceived world where everything is perfect, go ahead. But trust me, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people, refuse to accept, refuse to acknowledge. But if you really want to be honest with yourself,
you're not on Twitter. I know that, right, Martin?
Nah, I'm not.
Draft Twitter. A lot of the good people on Draft Twitter were killing the narrative about Fields never going to his second read. They were murdering it out there. Like they were showing highlights of him going to his second and third read. One guy, I believe it was Benjamin Solik, someone like that. They actually charted all of his throws and how many times he went beyond his first read. The only really problem I had with Justin Fields was his at the top of his release. Other than that,
his throwing motion.
Which is fixable, bro. That you can fix that. You know what I mean?
And holding onto the ball a little long.
I had no issue with as a player. Listen, I was talking Justin Fields up last year when I was on the other platform when everyone just wanted to talk about Justin Fields, bro. About Trevor Lawrence. And basically what I said about Justin Fields was he's almost as athletic as Lamar Jackson, but he's a better passer coming out than what Lamar Jackson was coming out of Louisville.
Okay.
I mean, I I think the Bears absolutely did the right thing. I think he fits what the Bears do perfectly, and I think he's got the arm for Soldier Field. Like, I think a big part of the reason why the Bears have had so much trouble finding a quarterback over the years is the place where they play. I mean, those wins make it damn near impossible to throw the ball sometimes. He's got the ability to run when you can't throw, and he's got the arm to throw through the whipping winds. But, like, listen, in this draft process, I'd be a little more scared off by Trevor Lawrence's comments and attitude than I would be by Fields. What did Lawrence say? Like, oh, football's not the only important thing in my life. Like, look, I get it. Like, it's not the worst thing you can say, but I want to hear a guy say, I'm going to go out there and die for my team. You know what I mean? I want to go out there. This is everything to me. So I don't know. I'd be more scared off by Lawrence's attitude than Fields'.
You bring that up. Remember what Josh Rosen said? I don't really need football.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah,
he had hot dogs.
But did you guys see the pro day between if you compare the pro days between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, especially when it like specifically a deep ball, Justin Fields hits his receivers in stride, man, when he hits deep, man.
Bro, Trevor Lawrence had the worst pro day out of all top 4 quarterbacks taken.
Yeah,
well, his shoulder was messed up too, so that's the thing.
No,
like,
but
he
that
had to
was
get
his
shoulder
non-throwing
surgery.
Yeah, but that was his non-throwing shoulder.
Bro.
It still messes you up.
plus-
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it does a little bit.
When you're 10 yards, when you're in the red zone at the 10-yard line, I'm not trying to hear that shit, bro. I played that position up to the college ranks. Martin here played it up into the college ranks, bro. Come on, bro. And the same thing, you want to give him that excuse, yet he was throwing 40, 50-yard dimes earlier in the fucking pro day, bro.
Right.
So what? It doesn't fuck him up on a 40, 50-yard throw, but it's fucking him up in the red zone. Give me a break with that.
They're just gonna run in the red zone. They ain't gonna throw it.
You know what the thing is? Trevor Lawrence isn't the perfect prospect, and I've been saying this for 2 years now. He is not the perfect prospect. Yeah, I call him the Great White Hope. Literally, that's what I call him. He is not the perfect prospect that everyone tries to make him out to be, bro.
Yeah, I mean, just because of the bigger arm, too.
I can make the argument he regressed every year in college since his
but he has nice hair.
He did. Yeah.
I'm not a Trevor Lawrence apologist.
I mean, in 2018, he won the national championship. Then the second year, he loses, and then he doesn't even make it the next year. You know, in his last year,
and he was underwhelmed. Everybody just brushes that off as if it means nothing.
Yeah,
but
like it's no big deal. Yeah,
he looked so underwhelming in that game against Ohio State. Like, it looked like he wasn't even trying. Like he already knew he was going to get picked first, and he didn't give a shit. Like, listen, that game, that's the biggest
Maybe he
game.
had a tea time the day before he had to make. I don't know.
I mean, that's supposed to be the biggest game of your life right there. I don't know. And Fields laid it all out on the line. Fields played awesome.
Very true.
With a hit pointer, too. Had a hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he was hurt. Yeah.
Tough kid, bro.
I think after Trevor Lawrence's freshman year,
bro,
it was decided.
You should have seen Trevor Lawrence when he was facing up against Jalen Phillips, bro. The guy looked like a deer in headlights with all the times that Jalen Phillips was going up in his face, bro. It was just beating the guards, beating the edge, like beating the tackles, bro.
I gotta say this.
We'll see that again this year.
And then I got no problem with you. You want to say Fields got beat out by Jake Fromm? Bro, guess what, my dude? Joe Burrow got beat out by
Dwayne Haskins.
Haskins.
Where's JT Barrett?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
In 2017.
Yeah.
And then Dwayne Haskins, and then he had to transfer out. So you can't gauge that, bro. You can't use that, dude. That's not.
Nah, Justin Fields is really good. He's really good.
Yeah, the Bears are a sleeper team.
He's legit.
Bears are legit.
And you know what? I want to back to Lawrence for a second. I know Martin's probably like me because we both played the position. Yeah. Don't you notice the first thing I always watch with a quarterback is your mechanics?
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence's mechanics under pressure are not very good.
Papua.
He dips his body forward, and it starts affecting his accuracy, like his low accuracy. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
I don't know,
Do you
man.
think it's similar to like Herbert a little bit at Oregon? You know what I mean? Because he's seen that happen.
The problem was, his mechanic. But like I said, my evaluation. You know, when Herbert's mechanics lined up, he made throws that
really
were
good throws.
Textbook. When he went off script a little bit, he got away
bro,
from him.
I used to watch Justin Herbert get caught flat-footed out of the shotgun, bro.
I watched
And I'm
him
like,
a ton. and
what's going on here,
I'm with
dude?
you. You know what's funny? I was worried about him going to pro because I said this guy can't throw accurate off script. You know what I mean? At Oregon. So
you know what I blamed, and I think I brought up in my evaluation too. That offense, bro.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That offense did and that's why people need to realize he wouldn't have done what he did in Miami that he did in Los Angeles because we were more of a horizontal based offense. He was in a purely like almost vertical offense, right?
Yes,
and that's
vertical.
Yeah, and that's playing to his strengths, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had way better weapons. Jakeem Grant was not going to catch them bombs. He was not going to catch them bombs.
Look, and just to kind of emphasize what Reason was explaining about Trevor Lawrence lack of mechanics when the pressure's on him.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these quarterbacks that get ranked the way they do coming out of high school is traditionally from camps, right? 7-on-7 camps and things of that nature. There's no pressure around you. You're literally it's you versus a timer,
and everyone's in their underwear.
And everyone's in it. So when it comes to like creating a sufficient passer in a 7-on-7 camp, you're basically saying if you give him a clean pocket, he'll tear you up, right?
Yeah.
But in the NFL, or even sometimes in college, that's just unrealistic.
Yeah.
There's really good guys that can get after the quarterback. So like how you're saying the situation with Trevor Lawrence. His mechanics diminishing when pressure comes in his face the way it does. It's like it's because he's a 7-on-7 type of style of quarterback. That's just what he is. So he hasn't quite adapted to how you move and maneuver around that pressure. Like say a Tua actually he does that extremely well. He climbs the pocket. He resets his feet, but we're time will tell, man. That's why you have coaches that can see those things and improve.
I gotta get a few comments here. First of all, Mark, the Herbert haters cost him in the draft. That's bullshit, bro.
The Herbert
and I'll tell you
haters.
why that's bullshit. First of all, you think scouts give a flying fuck what any of us say? Second of all, there's no denying Tua had much better college film than Justin Herbert.
100%.
Period.
Right.
And again, I go back to the offense that they ran at Oregon. It hindered Herbert. The reason why a lot of people labeled him as a potential bust because out of the top 4 guys, he was probably the biggest projection. And yeah, I'm including Jordan Love. All right, because Jordan Love showed he could make all these different throws off platform and such. Gannon, Fields is better, but he ran from competition. Coaches don't like that. If coaches don't like that, we just brought up how Joe Burrow left because he couldn't win the starting job in Ohio State, and he got drafted number 1 overall.
He's horrible.
Weak argument, bro. Very, very weak argument, dude.
And I will say this about that Justin Fields competition in UGA. Jake Fromm took Georgia to the national championship, I believe, as a true freshman, which was very, very good. It'll be very difficult to supplant that type of quarterback, especially when he's still playing relatively well.
What does he have, Martin? What does he have from the coaches? That's once you get it, it's hard to break it. What does he have?
Trust.
Oh, trust.
The trust, bro.
Yeah. That's exactly. So even with Tua, for Tua to break through what Jalen Hurts established,
he played 2 years at LSU, FYI. So he's not a different story. Anyways, continue on. Keep going.
Even with Tua breaking through the Jalen Hurts trust with Nick Saban. Nick Saban mentioned how difficult it was to supplant Jalen Hurts, but Tua's talent, Tua's the way he played was just so undeniable. It would have been detrimental to the team not to play Tua, not to start Tua. So that's the same thing with like Justin Fields, man. Justin Fields' situation was more so predicated on a true freshman taking him to the national championship, and also Fields coming in not quite getting the reps he wanted to. And I do believe there was a racially charged issue that Fields met or ran into during a live game.
Yeah, he talked about that, didn't he?
And I was like, wow, if I'm on the sideline and I'm not getting PT, and someone in the crowd, says something like, like nigger go home, or like something wild. But remember, this is Georgia. This is Georgia we're talking about.
Yeah, that's. I don't want to interrupt you, but I was going to say Georgia is probably the second most racist ass state in the union. So I mean, I'm surprised behind Mississippi.
How do you know?
It was the former,
probably
part of the Confederacy. So.
But they like that. I believe that's the main reason why Phil said, you know what, I need more of, a program that's going to completely, cater to my well-being mentally and my progression as a quarterback. So he just made the best decision for himself to leave Georgia. Not that he was running away from competition. It was more so a business decision in his mind to get better and
like a fresh
I
start,
right? Fresh start.
Like a fresh start, right? Yeah.
Yo, what's up, fellas? What's up, Reason?
What's going on, man?
What's up, boy?
Yeah, I've been enjoying the show. I thought the article was really good to read, and I thought it was good to ask everybody, their takes on, what they
give me your expectations for this year.
Yeah, I wanted to. So if we see Tua take that leap, man, I'm gonna be so happy. And I have full faith that he is. Like, I think this year you're gonna see him get the ball out. I was actually looking at something today that was saying when he gets the ball out of his hands, it actually helped. So as opposed to when Fitzpatrick was under center to when Tua was under center, everybody on the line's numbers actually went up. So I think this year you're gonna see the ball get out of his hands really fast. I think overall you're gonna see like that West Coast style offense where you're seeing the timing coming out, the quick slants. You're gonna see a lot more of receivers getting that yak. I think it's going to be a really, really good year for Tua. And I think once that starts to happen, that's going to open up the running game big time. I still have my concerns about the line. I'm curious to see how it's going to pan out. The only thing I'm not happy with on the offseason is I really wish that they would have, been a little bit more aggressive to fix that line. But the other thing we got to remember, fellas, is it's not over yet. I think the Dolphins still have on the roster a lot of money that they could cut. You know what I'm saying? So by the time we get into camp, you're going to see a lot of fat come off. So we got wide receivers, right? We have to make a decision. So we got $6 million there or so. We'll probably get back from that area. So they're going to make some other moves, going into the season there. They're going to make some other moves. And so I'm excited to see what they do in regards to that. And once they get everybody in camp, they're going to have a better idea of what kind of team they have, who they like, who's competing hard, and what they need to do to improve. And something else I was hearing you guys talk about that I thought was really, really interesting was the aspect of like how Greer's been doing, and and also like how we get attached to players and we do mock drafts and how they see the whole picture. And it came to my mind. I was like, yeah, you know what, that's true too, because they're not only thinking about like what they need, but they're also analyzing other teams, like who's going to be available here. Right. I mean, they got like feelers everywhere. And it was funny because yesterday or 2 days ago when you had that kid on that was going about the intel about how teams, I was cracking up. I was like, I'm sitting there like, how long is it going to be before that kicks this guy off the show?
Bro, and then in that Peter King article today, he brings up Intel.
Right. Oh my God! So, that argument, Jesus.
That kid, I could tell from the beginning. As soon as he came on, I could tell like he just had that little snub attitude. Like I was like, this kid.
He was like,
it was gonna be a ring around the rosy.
But I don't think that's what happened.
Say again. Say who said that?
I'm not sure. I think he got
everybody went silent.
Yeah. Pyro, you just been sitting there quiet all night, bro.
Who's thinking about Sharice?
No Avatar.
Najee not on the team.
What's up, guys? What's up?
What's up, Pyro?
What's up, Pyro?
Did you just wake up, bro?
No. I was watching some Jaylen Waddle.
You know, they got some.
Me too, bro. I've been on binging on Jaylen Waddle lately.
Bro, I'm
Yo,
psyching
I did
myself
have
up.
one question I wanted to ask you, Reason. So, like, what do you with the tight end situation? What do you think is more likely? Do you think they're trying to like maybe worry about coming off Gesicki? Do you think they're going to go more 12-man personnel, or do you think they're probably with the like more 3 wide receiver sets that they're going to run? They're going to devalue that position and not look to have that as a main pass catching position, but more as like a run blocking position.
No, I think they're. You're not going to see much difference in terms of personnel groupings. I mean, we ran the 5th most 12-man personnel in the NFL last year, and Tua was really successful when he ran 12-man personnel.
Yeah.
So, but you're still going to see 3-by-1 splits too.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. They're going to use a lot
early on. They actually did run a lot of 12-man personnel in Alabama, but it all stopped when Sarkisian took over.
Right. So that,
but it wasn't passing. A lot of it was blocking.
Yeah. So that's interesting to see because we know, Flo comes from the New England pedigree, which they obviously they run the most 12-man personnel. So it'll be, but I have a feeling that the offensive coordinators are going to be really looking to study Sarkisian's, what he did in college and try to, implement some of that into the offense. So I'm curious to see how that goes. Like, I'm very curious to see how that tight end situation works out. But right now, we're trying to sign everything.
Talking right now.
What?
Who's the blue sea talking right now?
Tony V.
Okay, what's up, Tony V?
What's
you interrupted him to ask that, bro?
I was just wondering. I'm just trying to say I like your insight. Just.
Pyro, by the way, I like. Pyro, by the way, I like that Waddle house. That's funny.
Yeah, man, I've seen that. I forgot what that was around when Waddle was when he wasn't injured. Like I think right before he got injured, they had on Twitter they had posted this picture and I saved it.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. He's slick too, man. I like the way he was dressed for the draft, man.
Yeah, that was nice.
Waddle
was
better than Chase.
Waddle was Houston, Texas, drip and drape out, man.
Yeah,
he had the grill in, speaking with the list.
Yeah, I know it was ridiculous, eh?
Yeah, but he had to take it out for the pictures though. I was like, damn,
with those shades.
Great pick though, man. Waddle will be a difference maker early in this in this season. But again, fellas, I want to reiterate this. This schedule will not be a cakewalk. We literally we literally have to take every single game, including the Jaguars and the Texans, very seriously because I'm just saying, man, rosters included. Obviously, the coaching is where we're going to really separate as far as how we're going to be attacking these teams and growing our leads. But every single game, the offense and defense has to show up, man. And I believe they know that. I believe they're going to take every, opportunity they can to improve every single week. But it's so vital for us not to take any of these opponents lightly because, trust me, one or two games like for us last year, the Broncos and games like that where we're supposed to win those games can cost you a playoff spot. So I'm just saying, every single game has to be must win pretty much.
And a lot of that first Bills game, was winnable.
Hey, but
that Patriots game.
Every game we played last year was winnable, except for the last Bills game. We were in every single game.
Yes, we were.
Right.
You know what's crazy? You know what I don't get?
Right.
Why does Tua take the blame for that Bills game? Was he the one who allowed 56 points?
Yeah.
No.
I will never get over this, bro.
For me, man,
quarterback somehow. I don't know.
Tua should automatically be taken off the responsibility list, man.
Hold on, one at a time.
He plays offense.
Hold on, one at a time. Pyro, go ahead. Then Logan, then Crypto.
When they let the second string team score on them, the defense should take all the blame on that.
Awful.
Bro, Matt Barkley's out here looking like a world beater. I'm like, what the fuck?
I said, you know what? I just said, you know what? if we blame Tua, game over at that point. But we blame Tua on that. This fan base just needs to. I'm sorry, man. This fan base is just a mess. If you really gonna put all the blame on the quarterback when the second string team comes in and drops two touchdowns on us? It was 2, right?
Yeah.
But the worst part about it is after the game, TD is out here, completely trashing Tua like it was literally all his fault. I was like, come on, man. You have to be realistic about this sometimes.
A rookie needs to put up 57 points in his ninth start.
I have never watched his channel again since that point.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I've never watched his channel again.
Logan, let's get your thoughts because I want to go Logan and then Crypto.
It's like all these like Tua haters. Like, what do you want them to do? Play safety corner? Like it's just like they can't. And the only one who did show up was Van Ginkel, which he always does.
Yeah, he's the man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Josh said they dropped 28 points with the second team offense.
Horrible.
That's ridiculous.
And I remember how DDW says right before the half, Allen 3 plays and they score. Byron Jones gets burnt by John Brown. 3 plays.
Yeah,
well, even Needham had his worst game of the season too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Crypto. Let's get your thoughts.
Barbecue. Yeah, I think the fan base needs a little bit of therapy on this one because they expect him to score 58 points and the defense gives up 56 points. That's crazy. They seem to forget that the Dolphins did have a lead in that game. So I'm old school. Once you get a lead in any game at any point of the game, it's a winnable game. Even that game was winnable by definition. Yeah. Because if you got a real stellar defense, you're supposed to be able to suffocate them when you get any kind of lead and maintain that lead and win the game. So even that game was winnable.
Yeah. Yep. And it's not just that. Tua was the leading rusher in that game. There was 0 running game. And so the offense became kind of one-dimensional. And then Tua was just throwing all over the field. And then it didn't help, to mention the fact that the receivers dropped 11.
Yeah,
11.
And wasn't 2 of his 3 interceptions weren't on him, right? One was on
the first one because
he only had the overthrow.
It was Devontae. It was Devontae Parker that
DVP did not fall.
Yeah, it was DVP.
No, he
did
did not
interfered. He got held, didn't he?
He was held for 5 yards. He let him go. Then he fell because he was being held. And then the referee's looking at the whole thing. His eyes are right on it. The game was over for me at that point. Didn't call anything. And it was a touchdown. Interception touchdown.
Rhino, if you'll remember them then. There was 3 interceptions. Am I right in saying, if I remember correctly, wasn't only one of them on the overthrow, right? Across the middle. That was the only one that was actually on Tua.
Hold
on a sec. I'm asking Rhino.
The other one was Bowden. He threw the ball, and Bowden just kind of like put his arms up, and it went through his hands. Remember?
He put one hand up. Yeah, he put one hand up.
And he tipped it up, right? And it got
right. And their favorite YouTuber blamed that on Tua as well.
In the red zone.
I think the first one was a clear pass interference. The first
that's what we're just talking about. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And then, the second interception. Yeah, the second interception was Tua's fault because he threw that
ball
one
over the middle. Yeah, over the middle, right?
Right.
But even with the Gesicki interception, which was clearly an overthrow by Tua, that's still more so of a mindset. He's just trying to get the ball to someone that's going to catch it. Yeah,
I think
it was desperation.
Tired, bro.
It was
desperation.
I just think he was very like. I wouldn't say the pressure was getting to him, but he was just trying to get this. He was trying to spark a light to the offense. He was trying to get a spark, and it doesn't help when you have Chan Gailey calling it. I will never forget this. A draw on 3rd and long. What the fuck?
That deserved tomatoes to be thrown.
He called bubble screen, like same bubble screen, like 4 or 5 times.
Reason. You remember the jet sweep that got blown up in the field on the goal line?
Oh my god! Hey, you know what's another reason for that game?
Jr.?
I will never trust PFF because of that game. PFF only charged our receiving core with 4 drops that game.
Get out of here.
Fuck that. No way, bro.
4?
Thought more than that.
Yeah, bro. And you know Big
That's
E on Twitter?
sabotage, bro.
You know Big E on Twitter?
Big E.
Big E actually clipped up the broadcast, and I think he counted 12.
It's 203 yards. He would have had more if they caught it. It would have been a 500-yard day.
Right.
Yeah,
And
he had a
the thing-
520-yard game. No rookie put that up last year, bro.
Yeah, it's
But
bad.
those are garbage.
And
yards.
it's not just
Those are
that. A
garbage
lot,
yards.
like half of them were like, you know, they were drive killers, bro. I remember there was one that Devontae Parker
Same with the
dropped.
Raiders
and it was
game,
like
remember?
30.
Right. Yo.
The Raiders game. How many drives did Jakeem Grant kill in that Raiders game, bro?
And Mac Hollins.
Don't remind me, bro.
Yo, I'll
yeah,
never
Mac
forget.
Hollins with that drop. Yeah.
I'll never forget that drop. I think it might have been the drop that got to a bench where it was kind of a low throw that went through his wickets. And I remember Reason going off about that, about how Peyton Manning and Tom Brady made a living off of those throws
Yeah,
throughout their career, targeting where only the
That's the
receivers
only
can get
place.
it.
Yeah, exactly. That's where only the receiver can make a play on it, bro.
It was a great throw, and
And
he
he
just
had-
fucking dropped it. Then he got benched. It was
Yeah,
fucking
Bro,
ridiculous.
And it
Mac
was his
Hollins
fault.
never
Hey,
lived up to that touchdown pass, bro.
Never.
Mm-mm.
I
Now,
would
special
say-
teams,
No, and
he's
then-
great on special teams. I can't take anything away from him.
Right.
I will also say the,
PFF, that PFF take, that PFF take on our drop passes was just more food for fodder for a particular YouTuber. That's all that was.
to me, man, the best one, and we'll always go back to
For a
is the
YouTuber and
Bengals,
his minion.
the Bengals drop. When Tua threw that bump, and that was just
my God.
a drive killer, man.
Horrible.
They
Hey,
literally
but don't-
killed the drive.
Yeah,
It
that
kept the
50-yard
Bengals.
ball.
Hey, but
It kept the Bengals in the game, gave them, more hope.
And that was his first
that
interception of the year, right?
No, this
No, I'm
was
talking about the Bengals. I'm talking
no,
about
that
the
was
Bengals.
Kansas City. Oh, the Bengals.
When,
Yeah.
you remember
Yeah,
when?
the Bengals one was also
Yeah, it
where he
was
had the
his first.
bomb.
Yeah,
Where he also
yeah.
had the
I'm
bomb
talking about the
that
Grant. Went,
Jakeem hitting him in the chest and it went up in the air and he got intercepted.
no,
Right,
that's
that's
Kansas
not
City.
Yeah.
That's Kansas City. That's Kansas City.
That Kansas
No, that
City
was. I'm pretty sure that was the Bengals game, bro.
no, that was
No, it was
That was-
Kansas
no,
City.
his
You
first one
remember?
was against KD.
That's when
Caught the
Pat.
ball
That's
up,
when
and Tyrann Matthew caught the pick.
yeah,
With
Matthew
Tyrann
Oh
Matthew.
caught
yeah,
it.
it was Tyrann
He
Matthew.
didn't have
Right.
he didn't have no interceptions.
Yeah, that was his first interception of the year. My bad.
Yeah, when I think we were up 10-0
Yeah.
at that point. It was a,
Yeah,
No, but there was
turn
one
game
impressive.
around.
There was this one impressive play that led. This
Fuck,
was
I
the
hate
drive that led
Jakeem
to.
Grant so much.
Me too.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
what
No,
a
there was this-
workout fucking warrior that's so useless on the field, bro.
I know.
It was like there was a play
That's just
like
all- that's
third
all
and
for
9,
Instagram,
and
bro.
Tua threw it between these
Oh,
two
for-
defenders, and the King just dropped the ball.
He's
Drive
an-
killers.
He's an IG warrior.
But that's all.
Hey,
But
Reason,
you know what,
you
fellas,
forgot.
though?
Hey, Reason, you forgot he's a P90X warrior.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
take Preston over him all day.
But you know what though, fellas? In the same way we feeling like this, they feeling that way too. And the good thing about having a young roster like that is, these guys are young and hungry, man. And the Bills game, not for nothing, even though we got stomped out like that, it kind of needed to happen though, because the Bills ultimately do have a better roster than us, and they're further along than us. And at the end of the day, Marino could have been playing quarterback. That was just a game that we were meant to lose. But at the end, that's gonna fire us up, and we will get a win off of Buffalo this year. Hopefully, we sweep them, but we definitely gonna split.
You know what the worst part about Jakeem Grant is too? He spends all this time getting ripped and jacked up, yet he can't beat press at the line worth a goddamn because he's not strong enough, bro.
Right.
Go figure that one out, bro.
Hey, Reason.
And I don't like him on punt returns either, man. He scares me. Yo, he does some really shady, questionable.
I do not know how he made that second team all pro or whatever the fuck it was for returner, bro. They must not have been watching the game.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, go back and watch my live streams and how many times my fucking heart stopped when the ball was in the air, bro.
They were probably looking at that Rams game.
You know what Jakeem Grant? Yeah. You know what Jakeem Grant needs to do? He needs to practice every day on the jugs machine, bro. Just do that every day. Just every practice.
Nah, dude, he's too
every day in
small.
training camp, just do
He's
jugs.
too small. And his helmet's too damn big.
Learn how to
I
catch.
can't figure put him at running back, man. I would put him at running back.
You need to go climb a beanstalk and find the Jolly Green Giant.
Something, man.
Cut off his hands and sew them to Jakeem Grant's arm, and that's the only way you'll get better results, bro.
Bro, that dude needs a fairy godmother makeover, bro.
Man, I'm so excited for the full on the Waddle now.
Bro, if he makes his team with all the talent we got there, I will be legitimately livid, bro.
Yeah.
I want Albert Wilson over him all day.
Right.
What if he has
Wilson coming
what if he
back,
has
I
$1.5
can't-
million contract? Would you be okay with him returning for
No.
returner special teams? No.
No.
Donate
Donate that $1.5 million to charity. You're getting more out of the money. Okay.
Yeah, give it to the kicker. He can throw better.
Hey,
He
Pirate.
can catch better.
Yo, what was that? Belichick, South Park? The kids.
Yeah. How do I reach these kids?
These kids.
Yeah.
Okay, go reach them with $1.5 million.
Right.
I'd rather sign EM Dolphin fan to be my fullback for $1.5 million.
Hell yeah.
Than giving
Yeah,
Jakeem
yeah.
Grant $1.5 million to play receiver.
I'm his agent. I get 10%. Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Damn.
I can't. I honestly can't. I don't know, bro. If I'm ever in the Miami streets and some of y'all are with me, it's gonna be on if I see Jakeem Grant, bro. Like it's gonna be on, bro.
It's lit.
Like, pull out your phones because it's going down, bro.
Reason don't do it, bro.
Bro.
Hey, Jakeem just be walking by himself, and then Reason he's just gonna jump on him out of nowhere.
Damn, bro.
I'm gonna give him a hug and pinch his cheek.
He's gonna confront Jakeem.
No, I'm gonna one punch him, and then when he hits the ground, I'm gonna go, oh look, Jakeem Grant dropped again.
Well, at least you know he won't fight back. He don't got no hands.
Oh,
You gotta confront Jakeem Grant at Publix, man. Same Publix at 2.
He gonna be like the drill sergeant on Full Metal Jacket and say, "Congratulations, you made it, Goma Powell."
You look like the type that doesn't even have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
Oh
I
wow!
love that movie, man. That movie's
For real, man. Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated.
While we're
talking about
and you know what it's gonna turn into? You know what it's gonna turn into, bro? It's gonna turn into like everyone I'm with just gonna they're all gonna be Dolphin fans and everyone's just gonna start stomping him out when he's on the ground, bro.
Right.
Like it's just gonna turn into a pile-on, bro. Yeah,
Get the hell off of my obstacle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Jakeem Grant was hospitalized today.
Yeah. Enraged Canadian Dolphin fan.
Well, while we're on that subject,
basically.
Grant,
I fucking hate that guy. You don't understand.
yeah,
I
y'all
despise
remember that game, the Chargers game?
You fucking jabroni.
Y'all remember the Chargers game when
fucking jabroni.
Tua had escaped that sack, and then I think he threw like a 40-yard bomb to Jakeem Grant, and it was just by his fingertips. Like if that was Jaylen Waddle, that's a touchdown.
Or are you talking about
On
where
that
he
play,
dove out? Where he dove out?
Yeah, that was sweet.
If that was
What?
Waddle, that's a clean touchdown.
Well, that's what I
there.
said when it was live. I said if that receiver was even 5'9", 5'10", that's a catch.
I remember.
You know, the
What's
problem
your-
is you're dealing with a fucking Oompa Loompa out there, bro.
And that's his only speed threat. Two people don't understand that. You know, you have a 5'6" guy who's your only speed threat who can't catch, and he's a body catcher. I mean,
Hey,
I mean
What
that's
did I
just
call
tough.
him? What did I call him all last year? He's literally a pylon that moved with 4.3 speed. That's what he is, bro.
Polygon.
He's a tackling dummy, bro.
And Jaylen Waddle's still faster than him. He's bigger and
Yeah, I
faster
don't even want to
still.
call him a tackling
So, I mean-
dummy, because at least a tackling dummy has a fucking purpose.
Yeah.
Bro, Jakeem
Bro,
Grant.
how many would he not wave off when the guy's right there, 3 yards? He doesn't even have the fucking he doesn't even have the brain power to realize I gotta wave this off, and then he gets
my
lit
God.
the fuck up, bro.
Twice during the
Bro.
game, twice.
Oh my
Yeah, that
god.
Vegas game was a
It's the
disaster.
ball. Hey, it's Ryan. Like Rhino said, the helmet's too big. It's
too big. It's too big.
He can't see.
Hey,
Is it like Don Beatty's old helmet?
Yo, y'all remember ESPN? Y'all remember the 2K football games?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember the
Yeah,
one where
yeah.
you could like with Warren Sapp on the cover where you could look through the helmet?
yeah.
First person football,
view.
baby.
You remember that?
First person football.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
imagine if you were playing that game with Jakeem Grant, bro. You'd be looking
Staring at everybody's
fucking
crotch.
knees. Yeah, everyone's dick and knees, bro. That's
Yeah.
all you can see.
Nah. All you gonna see is the helmet pattern.
Oh, fuck.
Yo,
Yeah.
yo, imagine if Jakeem Grant played with Eli Manning and like he did the helmet catch because his helmet was so big. Eli Manning didn't just threw the ball at his
Nah,
face.
bro, it's gonna
That's
bounce off. It's gonna bounce off his head.
Yeah, with his luggage bounce off.
It's gonna bounce.
This is one of the most
No, it's
classic
gonna get
roast
stuck in his
sessions.
face mask.
I don't know,
This is
bro.
one of the most classic roast sessions.
I wonder
of
what-
Well, yo,
Jakeem
Martin,
Grant.
if you don't have the as a football player in a
Yeah.
violent physical sport, if you don't have the common sense to protect yourself on kickoffs,
I know.
what
I
the hell
know.
good on the punts or whatever? What good are you,
I know.
bro?
Just imagine
know.
Zero good.
Aaron Donald and Jakeem Grant in the ring.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
bro, he's getting freaking destroyed, bro.
Oh
You
my
trying
Donald
to
Aaron would tear his arms off his body.
Yo.
and beat him to
Oh,
death
bro.
with it.
Did you see that? Did you see that footwork drill that was
Oh
on
my
Twitter a couple
God.
days ago with Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
Did
What
you
an
see that?
athlete.
Where,
dude's
where
yeah,
he's
he's
working the
fast.
pads and then he worked
Yeah.
the ball that got rolled at him?
Yeah.
He's
Bro,
an elite athlete, dog.
Bro, his feet are faster than Jakeem Grant, bro.
That's
He look
true.
like a
And
receiver,
probably
bro.
bigger, too.
His
But
foot
you can
quickness,
compare him
yeah.
up-
Yo, Reezy, y'all had me cracking up. You and Clump on draft night when the Rams drafted Tutu
Tutu
Atwell.
Atwell?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
You're like, yo, what
That's
happens
bad.
if dude falls on him? I'm
That was a
pretty sure
classic
I'm
pick
pretty
for
sure
the
he's not gonna
Yeah,
make it.
he's dead, bro.
Bro, you know what's funny? What's hilarious about that is they compared his ass to Grant. I was just like, what the fuck?
I know. Then good luck.
Did they really?
Perfect.
Sucks.
Yes. They said they literally got showed tape of Grant, bro. I was like, wow. They
No,
really comparing him to Grant.
Vicken, I love you, but the only time Jakeem ever balls out is when he isn't wearing any pants.
Right.
Other than that, he don't ball out, bro. Okay.
Dang.
All right.
You know how big his
Oh my
wingspan is?
God.
It's 71 inches.
Jakeem Grant?
Yeah, that's his wingspan.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Yeah, me too.
Can he give an example of when Jakeem Grant balled out? Because I can't even remember really one game where he was like, other than a couple jet sweeps. I mean,
Rams game.
2018.
Oh, he had the touchdown
I think the
return.
Rams game.
And the Wilson
Yeah,
game
sometime.
in 2018.
He had the punt.
Against
punt
Atlanta,
return.
right? Was that
I mean,
against
but-
Atlanta?
I think
No,
so.
the Eagles.
Rhino,
but-
was that
but-
against Atlanta in 2018?
I don't remember the team at all. But the big game Wilson and Grant had that game where they
Yeah,
had
it was
each other.
Oh, the Raiders.
The Bears.
You talking about the Raiders?
Yeah, long
No,
time
it's
ago.
just the Bears.
But be real, fellas. When your best game is like 2 years apart from each other, man, it's like, come on, dog. Like,
Who does that remind you of?
We can't rely on that.
What running back that got cut last year does that remind you of?
Balaj.
Mm.
Caleb
Man.
Balaj.
We all saw how that ended, didn't we?
Hey, look, man.
Shout out to Bobby, man. Shout out to Bobby.
Yeah,
Shout
it
out
was the
to Bobby.
Bears. It was week 6 in 2018
Oh, it was
against
the
the Bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember that
Wilson had
trick play we
155
ran.
yards and 2 touchdowns that game.
Yeah, I remember that trick play we ran against the Raiders. That was the best moment of my life right there. That was,
I
man.
don't
That-
remember.
Honestly, bro,
that was
I don't
I would
remember
use
anything of that.
Waddle on punt return situations where we need a spark. And other than that, if Foster's going to make the team, you want to return punts and kicks, there you go, boy. Lyndon Bowden Jr. can even do that.
Put him
I
out.
think they're gonna
Collins.
use him a
Can
lot.
Albert Wilson return punts and kicks?
Guys, I think they're going to use him
I'm sure he
a lot.
can.
I really
No,
I know
they're not.
Igbenogany
Hold on a second.
can.
You think they're gonna
Igbenogany's a good returner.
Hold
Yeah, I
on.
want
you think they're
Igbenogany doing it.
I
Hold
do.
on, hold on.
I do,
Who?
man.
Who?
The Waddle. I think they're set on using him a lot.
Oh, okay.
At special teams.
Oh, I thought you said Grant.
I would be okay with him on punt return, not kick return.
Right.
I'm
The
sorry.
only one we need is spark,
If
like
he-
you said. If we're behind or something, I don't want to take the chance.
Nah, I'm sorry. If he returns anything, I'm going to faint.
You're going to be fainting a lot, I think.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
I believe Jaylen Waddle should be used as change of pace, like get the momentum on your side type of returner.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they plan on using him a lot in the return game, I prefer him strictly punt return because he excels at punt return more so than kick return. Kick return, he's still really good, clearly. But at punt return, he's magical, bro. He just follows his blocks
Didn't
perfectly.
you see that play?
He sets him up.
Waddle on the punt return against LSU where he got his face mask pulled and
Right.
just went all
Right.
the-
Right.
Yeah.
He knows what to do when the entire team is running directly at him. Like he just knows.
I'm with you, Martin.
how
I
to
think
do
he's
it.
special. I think he's special at everything. But for me,
Yeah.
punting scares me because it's just like hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
compared to kickoff.
It's not worth it. You got guys coming down full speed. I mean, gunners.
But I think they're going to use
Yeah.
him a lot. I really do think they're going to
You
use him a
got
lot.
too many people. You got Igbenogany. He's a first-round pick. Let him get his work in. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, like Reason said, we're behind or something. You know what I mean? And we need that. We really need it. Then throw him in there. But other than that, man, yeah, like a
but
spark.
I think Miami's gonna weigh their options first between all the athletic guys, and then they make their choice maybe by training camp or something. By the preseason. They're
gonna do what they're gonna do. But I just hope personally as a fan, you know what I'm saying? Like
you even have Kirk Merritt who can do that too.
Yeah.
Kirk Merritt.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Waddle on the field as a wideout as much as possible, because I mean that guy is going to give you the most opportunity for explosive plays. I mean, if you can keep him on the field with Will Fuller and Albert Wilson and vice versa as much as you can, then I mean that's just the best out in my opinion than trying to overly use him on special teams.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
I think Miami's gonna move the receivers all over the place. It's not gonna be one primary X or one primary Z or slot. I think they're gonna move the guys around.
They're gonna have to play rock paper scissors like they did in Alabama.
But again, I'm just glad we have competent guys like a Godsey and a Stutesville that's actually going to analyze the specific play styles that they have at receiver, at tight end, at running back, and put them in the best positions to succeed. It's not just about having really fast players or really big players at running back or things like. You have to really put guys in positions to succeed, and sometimes that means motioning them, creating a completely a complete package of straight fast receivers versus a complete package of jump man wide receivers. Like they're gonna have to play around with this a little bit to get the most out of all their players. But Godsey is one of those minds that's relatively young in the NFL world.
Circles, yeah.
I think this is going to be one of those rare opportunities where he knows this is going to be one of his real spots and moments to shine, and he's not going to take this for granted, bro. I think Godsey is going to come out and really show us something as far as how to position guys and put them in positions to win.
So I'm saying
you're right, Martin.
Good.
Because if there's one thing that we need to show, if there's one knock on Flo, it's that he's got to get that offensive coordinator thing, going. Because even last year, like I'm no football guru, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a common sense guy. That's why I listen to like Reason and people will really break down the X and O's because I know it when I see it. But when they made that hire, I'm like, it don't make no sense. Chan he's old. You're bringing in a young quarterback. You want your offensive coordinator and your quarterback to grow together. Like it just didn't make no kind of sense. So hopefully they can nail that down. You know what I'm saying? I'm really curious to see, but they definitely have to get that figured out, man.
Flores made the honest mistake of entrusting his quarterback that put him in position to draft a rookie in Tua to ask the veteran, which coordinator that you worked with in the past can help a young quarterback? And Fitz, like Reason keeps saying, Fitz took a very selfish route and said, "Give me Chan Gailey," because Chan Gailey was the offense where he succeeded the most. Bro. And I was like, "Damn, bro! Like if you're being real with yourself, you knew Chan Gailey was not the answer." But it was
I know,
perfect word.
I know Rhino and all those Star Wars fans will like this. It's a trap.
Yeah,
it's a trap. Yeah.
Reason, how are you feeling about our offensive coordinator situation going into the new season? You happy with that, or
I actually really like it.
I do too.
Like Shanahan does the same thing, except they don't have the coordinator title where he has a passing game coordinator and a run game coordinator, which is what I think this is basically at the root of this. Right. That's what it is. Like that's, McVay does the same thing. And these are all the offenses that everyone out here is trying to mimic. Look at, even in New England, they have a passing game coordinator, a run game coordinator, and they even have a red zone coordinator. No one talks about that. They have a red zone coordinator, someone who just focuses on calling the plays in the red zone.
That's
smart.
wild, man. Yeah.
That sounds like something San Francisco used to do with Bill Walsh. I think they had something similar to that.
Well,
sound
look at that. Look at the 85 Bears. Who did they beat? Who did they beat in the NFC Championship? The LA Rams. The LA Rams. The LA Rams at the time had co-offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
And it took the 85 Bears to beat them.
Yeah, it's been successful pretty much every time it's done.
The Buddy Ryan
They also had Eric Dickerson, but we won't go there.
Hell of a run.
I think it's very good for him because it
that was
doesn't
Buddy Ryan's defense.
It doesn't put too much pressure on one coordinator. They can just focus on, passing situations, running.
Well, you know what you can do too, Rhino? Pyro. If let's say Stoodsville. Well, they kind of tipped their hat when they said Stoodsville. If Chan Gailey was out for an extended amount of time because of COVID, Stoodsville was going to be calling the plays. Mm-hmm. So let's say Stoodsville's calling the plays. Mm-hmm. If you're let's say I'm Godsey and you're Stoodsville, Pyro, and you're up in the booth because they're probably going to have one up top and one on the sideline, right? That'd be a smart way.
Right.
As Godsey, I can call up to you and I can say, yo, I'm seeing this. Think about running this that we talked about in our game planning sessions. It might work. That's what I'm sitting here. One guy's going to be calling the plays, but the other guy's going to have the right to say, yo, I'm seeing this. Maybe try this out because this isn't working.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So two lines are better than one, right?
One gets the feeling on the field. One gets the bird eye from above.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, they should be able to figure it out because I really think we got an embarrassment of riches on offense, especially at receiver, man. And I call me crazy, but I know this might be a little antiquated and crazy. I know I want to see Waddle succeed. I'm sorry. I want to see Tua do well as much as anybody, but occasionally I'd like to see a little wildcat because of the talent and speed that we have on offense.
Guess who runs Wildcat? Dokes.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say either Perry or Bowden because they got the experience doing it at quarterback so much. But with all the speed that we have, man, I hope we keep Wilson, Fuller, and Waddle out there. Even and Gaskin and Ahmed, they're both fast running backs that can catch the ball. With all the end arounds and misdirections and speed out there, we could do a lot of really exciting shit there. With that, boys, I got to get up early in the morning, so I got to go. But Fins up. It's good. I'll talk to you next time.
All right,
bro.
Robert Waddle's injury was a clean break. There's no ligament damage, so you don't have to worry. Okay, I am getting to we're past the 3-hour mark. I got to get working on this Jalen Phillips stuff that I'll be dropping this week. So let's get through some final thoughts here. Ryan, we'll start with you, buddy.
When you going live next reason, you think?
Wednesday. I will be live at 7:45 because the schedule will be dropping at 8 o'clock. So, are you around that night, Martin?
Wednesday, yes, I should be here.
So I'll send you the link, and I'll send Rhino the link. If Pyro's around too, I'll send him the link too, and I'll send it to Damien. And we'll have a little bit of a mod panel up here. If EM's around, he can join, and then we'll open it up after everything drops and we talk about it.
No problem.
All right. Yeah. So go ahead, Rhino. My bad.
Yeah, man. No problem. Really excited about where we're heading. We got the rookie camps coming up. I think the 20th or 24th, 17th. That'll be exciting to talk about the schedule on Wednesday. We just got to keep the course, man, and remember what we're trying to build here. And we don't have to fall for all the fake news in the media. They're just trying to sell clicks and papers, So, fins up.
Martin, let's get your final thoughts, buddy.
Yes, sir. I'm with you, Rhino. Let's leave all the distractions outside. Let's focus on what we need to focus on. I love the fact that we're consistently building. We're putting things in place to where we will be a contender year in and year out. And I just need us to get more into the habit of realistic expectations. In order for us to be successful this year, every game has to be approached as a playoff game. It really does, because that's the type of schedule we're about to run into, I believe, coming soon. So Tua, hats off to Tua. He's working hard. Brian Flores admittedly, spoke it out into the universe that, yes, we see Tua's working hard and we expect to jump from him. So everybody's anticipating the same thing. and we're just hoping and praying that it comes to fruition because hard work does pay off, man. So fins up.
Tony, your final thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, man, I'm loving that, man. The the redemption of the Samoan sniper is near for sure. But yeah, I really enjoyed the show tonight. I love that conversation. I thought it was a really, really good conversation. The article was great. I think now that all the dust is settled from the draft, I think everybody is really seeing the steady hand that we're building with, liking the competition. We got a really deep team. We got competition everywhere. I think we're going to keep teams guessing, not knowing, exactly who's playing where and switching up different game plans based on different teams. So, we don't have no knuckleheads that are like going against the grain and everybody's, on the same page and talking about the bright things to come in the future. So it was a really good show tonight. And I enjoyed doing it with y'all. So fins up, appreciate your reason.
Thank you, Roman. Appreciate you. Pyro, your thoughts, bro?
Well, I just want to say that I'm glad that Tua is getting help, getting backed by the head coach and the GM.
Mm-hmm.
Getting just quiet down. He knows I'm pretty sure he knows that the team's behind him. But what got me excited, not only the coordinator, two coordinators, the quarterbacks coach that we hired. I believe his name escapes me right now.
Charlie Fry.
Charlie Fry. Thank you very much.
Worked with Tua in the Elite 11.
Correct.
Yeah, man. And I just think having a guy that knows him, personally, and will critique him when it's necessary, I believe that would really help to improve his game and make the year two jump even more. Not bumpy. I was just gonna say like that. Just it'll make it a smooth transition. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get it started right now. It's about that time. So, as always, and I mean always, root against the 49ers. We got to get this going, y'all. I'm telling you right now, it's that time, man. I was going to wait till preseason,
man.
I was going to wait till preseason. I was just going to wait till preseason, but I got to get everybody that's the chance.
On the same page right away.
Now. Yeah, man. Yeah. Week 1, baby. We got to get it going.
All right, Logan, your final
thought. Every day, baby.
Hey, keep saying it, Pyro, because it worked last year, brother.
Yeah, we all know how we feel about green, right? Yeah, so great show, Reason. Really enjoyed it, and thanks for having me on. And excited with happenings coming up. We got the schedule release Wednesday. Looking forward to that, seeing who we're playing week 1. I'm curious to know. And mini camps coming up. And yeah, I'm just excited. Fins up.
Irving, your final thoughts.
Yeah, man. I have modest expectations about Tua. I'm not going to exaggerate in any way. I think he's going to have, he's going to have a noticeable jump. I am expecting him to throw around 3,500 yards, maybe 30 to 32 touchdowns, and about 11 to 12 picks. This schedule is going to be tough, man. I agree with Martin. Don't take, even within our own division, don't take these teams lightly. The Jets are no joke. They finally got a competent front office, and Joe Douglas, and a well-respected coach with I forgot the whole head coach's name.
Robert Saleh.
Mm-hmm. Robert Saleh, yeah. And so, and they had a very good draft. I would say the best next to ours. So they're a team, up and coming team. The Patriots, slouch. They spent a lot of money. They got 8 players coming back from COVID and all that. The Bills, were in the AFC Championship last year, and we're facing the Ravens. We're going to face the Colts. Titans. A lot of teams that were in the playoffs last year. We're going to have to take on the defending champion. So just don't jump to conclusions. Just take every day as it is. Just take it one day, one step at a time, and hopefully this team can make progress. Whether it's developing chemistry between each other, learning the playbook, getting to learn each other's habits and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. so we can help this team improve day by day, whether it be, and it starts with the OTAs, it starts in mini camp, it starts with training camp, and hopefully we can, you know, get this team where we want to get it to by week 1. So I'm excited for this team. You know, Waddle and Fuller and all these guys. They're gonna bring that yak ability and that speed that we desperately needed, separation that we desperately needed from last season. So, they're gonna help Tua take that jump and hopefully, you know, make it, you know, help make him our franchise quarterback and eventually get to the playoffs. So I'm excited, man. Don't sleep on the defense either. Fins up.
Josh, your final thoughts, bro.
Well, I'm just gonna say, if this team can, you know, develop their identity this year, which I believe they're working for, you know, this offseason, then I really think this team is gonna really overachieve on what we believe they can do. Even with this schedule being this tough, because we have a lot of talent. It just has to be realized. And, you know, I would compare it to like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know, over the last 4 to 5 years. You know, even before that, they were drafting a lot of talented players on defense and on offense, and all they need to do was, you know, create that cohesion. And, you know, once they realized all that talent, you know, they had that success come. So, you know, we are in a position to do that. And I mean, if you guys don't think, if, you know, Devontae Parker, Jaylen Waddle, all the receivers, the offensive linemen, they hear how the media, even the defense, they hear how the media has been trashing on Tua. They hear how people have been counting this man out, how they've been dogging him, and they see that Tua's out there working and, you know, doing what he can. So they're going to come out there and they're going to play for him. They're going to play for Coach Flores, you know, and that's something that you don't underestimate, because when you have a team who out there willing to put it all on the line for each other, then, and with this type of talent, I mean, the sky's the limit. If they can, you know, just put it all together, coaching-wise and all that, then I think this team could do something very special this year. So that's all I'm going to say. Just leave it at that and fence up.
Crypto, your final thoughts, buddy.
Hey, yeah, appreciate it, Reason, for letting me on the show again. But hey, I'm definitely looking forward to that schedule release. We're going to go full metal jacket, not giving any reach arounds to anybody. And we're going to be giving a bunch of blanket parties to the whole AFC and then the rest of the way. A whole bunch of blanket parties is on the way. So I'm looking forward to them putting that product out there so we can see what teams we're going to be destroying. But our defense is good. And another thing, this may sound a little bit far-fetched, though, but I think Marino, well, I know Marino was the greatest prolific pure passer of all time. But with this new receiving core we got, if we can gel together and our speed demons on the perimeter can have a real good, you know, bonding and gelling together, and this is a pass-happy league, I actually think on the receiving yardage side that we can compete with the 84 Dolphins when it comes to total yardage as far as in the passing game.
Wow.
I really do think that can happen.
Big statement.
Because of the continuity. Because think about it. Mark Duper ran like a 4.27, 4.26.
I was just thinking about
He was the one guy. We got 3 guys that run in that range. The previous 84 Dolphins didn't. They just had prolific overall pass catchers. And of course, Marino was Marino. But with our scheme, with the right passing formula, I think we can compete with those level when it comes to the yardage total on the perimeter. I really think we can get that many yards for productivity if we get the chemistry working with Tua and Waddle.
I'm with you.
Bold
Tua gets
statement,
that
but bro, I'm
college
hoping
timing
you're
back.
right.
Oof, it's gonna be on.
I like it, bro. I like it.
I hope, bro. All right, guys, I will be back on Wednesday night. I'll be live as soon as I put my kid down. I'll be going live. And until then, y'all already know what time it is. It's Fins Up all day, every day. I'll see y'all Wednesday night.
Private joke.